Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the ChazmaN podcast, where, as always, this is your favorite place to hear all of the nerdy video game news and other kind of news that has kind of caught the eyes of me and my buddies, MetalGamer and Phoenix, throughout the last week or two. As always, just want to say on screen, we should have some audio locations there where if you'd like to watch or listen up from there, feel free to check that out. Feel free to also check out any highlights that I like to post throughout the week. And just down below, we'd love to hear any questions, suggestions, comments. Do you hate Metal Gamer? Why'd you hate Metal Gamer? Just anything you wanted to say throughout the week. Just let us know. We would love to hear any engagement that you got. What's going on, Metal Gamer and Phoenix? My two buddies. How have you guys been since our last episode?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good.
Man.
Finally dusting off some of the cobwebs.
Yeah, so you got your setups coming together in the back. Got some nice shelving all propped up. Starting to get some displays going on. Looking good, looking good.
Got a dangerous
Thanks.
weapon on your door. I don't know. Who's that for?
That's my extra protection.
So when the missus comes in, you can fend her off.
How do you know?
Oh, I know too much. Yeah, no, it's been a crazy week, I tell you. Part of it's I haven't been getting any sleep because I've been playing the stupid God of War game nonstop. I don't think I went to bed till like 4 a.m. last night trying to finish the game before this podcast. Still didn't do it, but other than that, I'm alive. So.
You did more than me, man. I was trying to frantically rush to finish the game, and then last second I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to get to those spoilers.
Long. Yeah, I know we're going to talk about it, but it's a lengthy game. Even if you're not doing all the side stuff, it's a good, easy 25 hours. Probably more than that. So
that's going to be a very interesting topic we broach, the length of the game, when we start talking about it. But yeah, I guess if just we wanted to go through some of the topics that we have for you for this week. Looks like we have 4 games. I have 2 to talk about. Ragnarok will be one of them, but I do believe Phoenix wanted to kind of make you guys wait. I think, right? We're going to talk about that last. So we got some games. We got some more highlights from our collections that we wanted to show you. We've got, 4 speedrun news topics. And yeah, so once again, we're going to save the God of War Ragnarok section for very last, seeing as how I feel like that's what everyone's kind of talking about right now. And just so you know, when we do get to that, that will be spoilers for everything but the final ending, or the ending, whatever happens at the end, because I haven't gotten there, and I don't think Phoenix has gotten there either.
I'm in the last chapter, almost.
I feel like I've read up, and I'm like 3 or 4 hours away, so yeah. We'll see. I'll probably finish it in the next day or two, but all right, so we got 4 games between the 3 of us. Who wanted to go first with a game?
I don't care. Metal, did you go last time first? You're gonna go.
Yes, he went first last time.
Oh, fine.
So,
I don't care. I don't care.
Right, I'll go then with right. Gotham Knights. All right. So before God of War came out, if you don't know, I guess this actually would be a good time to bring up, since we're talking Batman. Unfortunately, if you guys didn't hear, the great Kevin Conroy passed away due to an illness. Great sadness. I think all 3 of us love the Batman animated series.
Best Batman.
The Arkham trilogy. I've got somewhere all behind me. Yeah, incredibly sad to hear. What did you guys? You guys been totally down in the dumps since that happened?
Oh yeah, man, heartbroken. Well, it's because he's been so persistent as Batman for decades now. I mean, I know he's known for animated series, but he's just stayed consistent. He keeps getting brought back, like the Arkham series, or he still gets popped up. I think in certain DC animated films, he does reprises the role. So I don't know. It's hard to hear Batman or think about Batman and not hear his voice. Like, I know we've had a lot of on-screen and animated representations of Batman, but his is by far the most iconic to me. Maybe it's because I just grew up with it, but even with that, that Batman was just the perfect Batman. Even though it was animated, it was everything you wanted Batman to be. And I don't think there's ever been another representation of it that's really hit it on the head like that. And a lot of that was due to his voice acting. So he will be missed very, very much.
Oh, absolutely. What about you, Gamer?
I agree 100%. I grew up with that. So one of my favorite series is the animated series. So
and I
feel sad about that.
It wasn't just the animated series, man. If you look back, he did Batman Beyond. He did a heck of a whole lot of deep animated.
Batman Beyond.
He did Batman and one of my favorite video game series. He did the Bruce Wayne in the Arkham series. Shoot, what else? He pretty much played the Injustice games. He did.
I didn't know he was in Injustice. That's interesting.
I think I heard that. because I saw another realm posted something about Rip Our Batman or something. But yeah, incredibly sad. Makes me really disappointed because there's a big convention that happens here every year, or it was happening every year. I think
it's back. You're MegaCon,
back,
right? Yeah,
MegaCon, yeah.
It's been back for the past couple years.
I was gonna go last year, and I decided not to last minute, and he was gonna be there, and I was gonna pay to get a picture with him.
Oh, well, you didn't get a picture, but you've seen him because at one of the first MegaCons we went to, he was on a panel. I remember you popping your head in for a couple of minutes. I thought you got a picture.
But I wanted to get a picture, like standing next to him. But it's incredibly sad. I remember seeing pictures of him recently, and I always thought he looked. I don't know. You never want to like speculate, but it's sad to hear he was dealing with, something in the background. Like a lot of other people have to go.
He was what, in his 60s, I think.
66, yeah.
Which, I mean, that's still pretty young, all things considered. So he will be missed. It's a shame. But you know. Hopefully, they'll carry on his torch in various ways. He'll be forever known to me as the Batman. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And, getting to see all the posts online with Mark Hamill and everybody kind of pitching in and Terror Strong, it really was a lot. But, all right, so, to Gotham Knights.
Best game of the year, right?
No.
I haven't watched you play any of this, by the way. I've been getting your texts about it periodically about how much trouble you've been having, but
this game could have used a Kevin Conroy, because there wasn't a heck of a whole lot about this game. Oh, play the B-roll. There was not a heck of a whole lot here that I very much enjoyed. I think the one big thing to take away is something that Skill Up mentioned is the direction they tried to approach this game. They very much tried to go very live servicey with it, and I don't mean live service in terms of like buying things, because I didn't really notice any microtransactions or anything. I'm sure that stuff's there, but it felt very like Destiny-ish in a weird way. Like they totally turned Gotham into like this big public area, and they have these side quests, which almost act as like either raids or strikes, like in Destiny, which me and Phoenix were very, very acclimated with. But yeah, they did that, and of course you have your main quest, but the main quest is not very good. Honestly, the best thing about this game were the side quests, which I felt like that was the case for Destiny. Oh no, Destiny, like the raids, right, were like the best thing, and those were like kind of side stuff. Well, I don't want to say those were side, but
as the in-game content, is that what you're talking about? But this isn't a live service game, so I mean, does it really have in-game content? Is that what you're getting at here, or?
Not necessarily. I think it's just the way they took. I didn't see any stuff like you were talking about. I just think it was just the kind of world that they just kind of had. I thought the biggest problem is that the Gotham itself was boring. Gotham itself was boring. A big problem I also had was the leveling up and just how the game, like the progression system, is not very good in my opinion. They go very heavily into the kind of similar to the way God of War was, but like way more intricately. Like there are aspects to the progression system that I still don't quite understand as to like what was happening. Like you have like modifiers, you have different weapons or different gear, and it went all over the place. And I think the biggest thing that kind of disappointed me about it is I started playing the game off in the hardest difficulty, and that was a big mistake to do, because it's very like progression and level. There's everything. What is the word? When you go into an area and enemies are all the same level.
Oh, it's like level gated.
Yes, it's very level gated where, like you're one of Batman's proteges, right? Because that's the whole story with this game. That's the big draw, is that Batman has died. At the very beginning of the game, Ra's al Ghul kills off Batman. Spoilers, I guess. That's kind of was the draw all the way from the beginning, ever since E3. That was the whole thing with this game. But yeah, you get to play as one of these like great superheroes, but playing it on the hardest difficulty, like if you're not running around the city and doing side quests and doing these public events and all these other things, your characters don't level up. And when you go to these areas, you can encounter like 4 normal civilians, but you could get your butt handed to you if you haven't been going off and doing side stuff. and it's really annoying because to me stuff like that kind of takes the whole superhero aspect of it.
So it's kind of like forcing you to branch off and go grind,
Oh
which
yeah,
for a
yeah.
game like this doesn't really seem like that should fit the gameplay loop.
And the grind is actually pretty fun when it comes to the side quests, which are there's like three main villains that have like their own side quests. Those things were like my favorite missions in the game. There's one with Clayface, there's one with Harley, and there's one with Freeze. Like those like side missions were like some of my favorite aspects of the game. And the Freeze one is actually the one E3 clip. Did you ever get to watch that one where it showed you fighting in this frozen area?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw part
Yeah.
of that clip.
Yeah, that's one of the freeze strikes or missions I guess you can do. Now those things were all really fun, and those are like probably the best things to do, but then out in the actual Gotham, it just kind of felt like, I don't know, like busy work. Like you do races, you do like something on screen right here, scanning drones, or here you can kind of see all these numbers. Like
Yeah, like
look
that
at
screen
this.
looks like Destiny.
It's very Destiny. Like look at this, and then you got these
All these
modifiers. Like
currencies and whatnot.
yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you what half of this stuff meant.
You know what it probably
Um,
was? I bet, and it's hard to say this, but probably when this game was early in development, it was probably before Avengers had come out and kind of
that's
crashed
what
and
I had
burned.
read. I read that. Yeah.
And they probably were thinking, hey, let's turn this into a pseudo live service game, just like Destiny, Avengers, etc. And then Avengers
Hmm.
crashed, and they're like, oh, maybe let's not do that. But once you've kind of
Like look
gone
at
down
the.
that path,
I was just saying, look at the gear. You have loadout, crafting, mods, styles. There's like so much on screen. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, that's all I'm saying. Like, it looks like just the structure of how the UI is laid out is for some kind of live service, currency-driven,
Hmm.
resource gathering kind of game, which clearly is not what it ended up being. So that's interesting. If that's the case, I don't know if we'll ever kind of get any confirmation that that's the route it was going, but it looks
Who
like it.
knows? But yeah, that was my biggest problem. Is just like I think if you're gonna play this game and you want, because that was the whole shtick. Again, my whole biggest problem with all these streams I did is I kept wanting to compare it to Arkham, and I
Mm,
remember you always saying when before the game would come out, remember this isn't an Arkham game, and
right.
I kept having to try and shift my expectations, but I don't know. It just it fell flat in pretty much every aspect of it. Like there's some sneaking mechanics. I don't think they were very good or interesting. Um, the whole shtick with the Batman games was that, remember, it was always like get to be the Bat. I remember that was always like the thing with those games. And if you play this game on the hardest difficulty, you are not going to feel like a Bat character because you haven't leveled up, or you haven't gone out and done enough side quests. And I felt like if you're gonna play this game, you got to play it on an easier difficulty. Play it on either easy or at least medium. Don't play it on hard. I feel like, again, it doesn't make you feel like a superhero. You got to play it on, I don't know.
Mm, that's
Was there any
interesting.
questions you guys had about it? I mean,
No question. So, do you think like one of the bigger detriments is just that this game was kind of living in the shadow of the Arkham games? Like, if the Arkham games hadn't been a thing, do you think you would have liked this game better?
I don't really. Maybe because your expectations would have been different. I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe, but those games dwarf. Yeah, they absolutely dwarf this game, and it's really sad because again, those side quests, those major raids or strikes, whatever you want to compare them to, those are really fun. Like those were the best parts about the game. Like the three main quests, the Harley one, uh, Clayface, and Freeze. Like those are by far the funnest things to do in the game, and like all the acting's really good. All four of your Bat people, they're
So, like,
all
if they
really
could have just
good.
like stripped the game down, just like cut some of the bulk, got rid of some of the
Oh
gating
yeah.
stuff, and just like focused in on those good elements, like the little story missions, the character development,
Hmm.
and whatnot, it probably would have been more successful. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because again, the acting was really good. I enjoyed the acting. The story's a little predictable. You kind of know where it's gonna go when you
Mm-hmm.
hear, "Oh, Batman's dead," but like, it's still pretty fun. I mean, I just felt like you were saying, it felt like they tried to approach the gameplay systems and the mechanics and or how the game operated. They were too broad. Like I felt like they were trying to do too much, and it's like narrow. Just focus in on the city, focus in on the characters, and it's like, again,
it seems like they were going for big scale
mm-hmm.
live service, expandable kind of games. That's probably why it was structured the way it is. But I think since they didn't go all in with that, you're just left with kind of like the shell of a game. This is what it looks like to me. And once again, you can correct me if I'm way off base here, but
No, I agree. And especially feels like it when you're moving through some levels. Like, there's some levels when you're moving through, you're like, why is there a loading screen here? Like, there's some parts where like you'll enter a room, beat up 5 guys, and then you'll enter a door and it'll turn to a loading screen. And it's like, dude, like this didn't need to be a loading screen.
right.
Is this here to help with matchmaking or you know what I mean? There's so much like just odd decisions. I mean, I would say if I were to rate it, like a 6 or a 7. Wasn't bad. Wasn't really good. It was okay. I think I said it on stream. It's if we're gonna compare it to the Arkham games, it's by far the worst out of all of those. Like Arkham Origins, I think was more fun than this. But
Yeah, and to be fair, I still just knowing what this game is, it shouldn't be compared to the Arkham games. Like it never was intended to be an Arkham game, right? So I think if you go in with that mindset, automatically you're setting this game up to fail. So,
I agree.
I mean, once again, I haven't played it, so I don't know. I mean, I haven't been overly intrigued to play it, so it's hard for me to even, I think, speak too favorably to it. But
I would wait until you pick this up for $20 or something.
yeah, it'll probably end up like how the Avengers. You know, you found that for like what $5 or $6 on sale at Target during Black Friday or something. So
it's really fun to play as like I enjoyed switching because you get to switch between the 4 bat people. I enjoyed switching it up. Like I ended up playing mostly with Nightwing, of course, but like I enjoyed switching it up from like one mission do Nightwing, next mission I would go to Red Hood, then I would go to Batgirl or try Tim Drake Robin. Like
that was the other thing I wanted to ask. I don't know if you mentioned this, I might have just blacked out. But like the co-op, like it has like 2-player co-op, right? But from what I understand, you can't play as like 4 friends all together as all 4 characters. Do you know if that's
I have
accurate?
no idea. I only had one person jump into my game, and because I was streaming, I couldn't talk to them, so I was just like, "Sorry,
I'm
pal."
almost positive that's what I heard, and I'll tell you that seems like such a missed opportunity, especially if it ever was really trying to be like a live service game. That would be like the core of the gameplay is that you could get together with 3 other friends. Each of you is one of the Bat family. Like that seems like a huge missed opportunity, even if it's not a live service. Like even if a game's bad, if like you, me, and Metal, and like we got one of our other buddies, and we all just hopped in, and we were all different characters, I think that would have added a lot of enjoyment to the game. So the fact that it sounds like it was limited to just 2 players, I don't know, that's disappointing.
I also feel like there was a misstep in here that like because the game tried to utilize 4 characters, I don't feel like I ever got to really build an attachment with any 4 of them. Like I feel like this game could have been more for me it would have been slightly more entertaining if they could have um, if you're going to follow up Batman, doesn't it have to be Nightwing? Shouldn't this have been maybe just a game where you play as Nightwing? I mean, he's the first Robin. I mean, he's the one kind of built up to take the reins.
I don't know if I necessarily feel like it had to have been Nightwing. I mean, I like the idea of this game is giving you an option for basically your play style, right? You can be somebody's a little more acrobatic like Batgirl or a little more brawny like, Red Hood. So, I mean, I think that's a good avenue to have pursued. It just sounds like, I don't know, maybe it didn't execute quite in a way that was as favorable. I don't know. I said, haven't played it, so it's hard for me to really...
There's some really cool sections like this, dialogue sections between the characters. Like I really enjoyed. Like there's one section you play where Nightwing is all disappointed. He's like, I was too busy in Bloodhaven and like I couldn't be there for him. Like that could have been a really like if they had expounded upon some emotional tugging of Nightwing or something because he's the oldest. He's feels like he couldn't protect him. I just felt like there was no true emotional bond built with any of the characters. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I don't know. Overall, okay, it was fun.
Weren't you saying too, like you initially got this on Steam, didn't you?
Oh, I should bring that up. Yes, I bought it on Steam. Game ran horribly. Like frame rate was not great. I tried every resolution setting, tried messing with everything I could. Ended up getting a refund, and I went over and bought it on PS5. Game ran great on PS5, so I don't know. I've had the worst luck with PC games. Every I think PC game, like the last three I've gotten day one, they've ran terribly. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about PC day one. It's just
Well, PC games can be just a crapshoot, you know, because I mean, every configuration of system's different. So if you're wanting, you know, consistent experience, console's almost always gonna be the way to go. I remember though, even when I want to say it was Arkham Knight when that first came out. I think I'd gotten that on PC, and it ran terribly.
I did it. Both did. And it ran
Yeah.
terribly.
So I mean, it's not like, you know, this game is an outlier. Like sometimes you just have an unoptimized port when it comes out, or maybe it just wasn't, you know, geared towards your configuration. I'm sure there'll be patches and updates, and it will improve and add stability. But that's the risk you take, I think, with PC gaming in general.
Actually, real quick, last thought is I remember since you brought it up. Do you remember the kerfuffle with this game before it came out, the console version?
Oh, what was
Before
it?
this game came out, they had announced that they were maxing
The frame rate.
FPS
Yeah.
to like 30 on console, so people were mad. I thought the game looked good. I mean, maybe it was still running at 30 on PS5.
I think the argument people were saying with that is they say, okay, we're going to cap it at 30 because our world is just so dense. Like they gave some kind of graphical excuse that, oh, because we're doing all this other stuff, it's just too hard for us to hit 60. And I think people kind of called foul on that because, and once again, I haven't played it, but just looking at the videos and the gameplay, looking at this Gotham City compared to like Arkham Knight or even Arkham City.
Have you seen the comparison videos?
Well, that's
of
what I'm
Arkham?
saying. Like this does not look anywhere near as detailed as that game. That's what, almost 10 years old now. That did run at 60, or at least can run at 60. So it seems like that's more of a optimization issue that they didn't quite hit for whatever reason. Which, as I said, I did not have any insight on how they developed this game, so I'm not trying to come down hard on any of them. But that excuse, I think, just fell a little flat for a lot of people, and that's why I think it was such a kerfluffle. People didn't like that rationale for why it was only 30. And to be fair, I mean, I think people are really trying to get away from 30 frames being the standard. Like, that was fine back in, like, you know, the 360 PS3 era, but I think most people have realized that having a higher frame rate closer to 60 improves gameplay a lot. So the fact that they weren't really hitting that or shooting for that was disappointing, but we're seeing a lot of games kind of hit that too. So I don't know. Hopefully that's not a trend and we start seeing more games really shoot for that 60 and stay there.
Okay, enough Gotham Knights. I feel like I went on way too long about that.
Yeah, well.
Gotham Knights is over. Who wants to go? We got Path of the Warrior and some other game.
Why don't you go ahead, Metal? You can talk about your VR experience.
I didn't even know you had VR.
Oh yeah, I've had it for quite some time actually.
Which headset do you have?
I have the Quest 2.
Oh, you're using the Quest 2? Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, it has the whole hand features and all that fun stuff. So, interesting thing to develop for, by the way. Just saying. Anywho, so I picked this game up a little while back. I just never had a chance to sit down and play it. Or I should say stand and play it in this case. So I started the game up and automatically it gives you 80s music. It gives you that feel of Streets of Rage. And they kind of bite off a little bit from it, meaning like this is called Rage City. So it's kind of like
Streets of Rage or something?
What's up?
Is it like Streets of Rage or
it's a lot like Streets of Rage, man. It's a complete
Streets of Rage
beat 'em
VR,
up
yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. The only thing like what I've experienced, I did the first level is the bar scene, and of course the outside the bar scene, and then you go outside and then you kind of beat the boss. Which I'm looking at the thing right now and I see the boss in that truck. I mean in the limo. So just to kind of give a little bit there. So the controls are pretty much punching, kicking, which you don't actually kick. You press X and A to kick left, to kick right. If you press them at the same time, you can do like tornado, jumping tornado kicks. It's pretty neat. So like, you have to save people from this gang that is taking over that's taking over the city. Not even like the officials can take care of him. I guess that's how bad it is. So then somehow you got roped into all this nonsense by walking into a bar and all of a sudden you have to fight everyone at the bar.
Like I was
Which,
just punching that dynamite to disable it.
yeah, you have to punch the dynamite to disable it. In order to save people, you gotta punch through things like the pool table. Someone's hiding in the pool table. You gotta punch it in order to break it open, and they have dynamite in their hand.
Nice.
So like you're saving people, and for each, this is the first boss, and this guy has knives on his head. His name is Mosh Eddie, and he has these freaking knives on his head. He throws them from like a distance. It's ridiculous. It's 100% just absurd. Um, my only thing is that if you're not used to it, you will get motion sickness,
Mm-hmm.
just
Ooh.
a little bit, because you get guys behind you trying to like beat up on you. You gotta go walking around. You gotta do stuff.
So I'm
And
assuming movement in this game is primarily handled through the analog sticks.
yeah, so like that whole scene in the kitchen's hilarious. You get to throw people in the oven. Um,
Yeah, I found
yeah.
that a lot of these VR games, like the motion sickness, usually stems on the movement control itself. Like games that you
Mhm.
actually physically walk around, it's usually not too bad. But when you gotta have an analog actually push you, and then you're physically not moving in real life, that really messes
Right.
with your head. So, and I was wondering, like with a game like this, we have to explore such a. I mean, these are fairly large environments. Like that's the only
No.
practical way. I mean, the other common way is where they do kind of the pool, where you like project a line and kind of make yourself teleport
Mhm.
around, but I don't know if that would even be feasible in a game like this or fluent enough.
I think it would be a little bit better if you were to like kind of like point and shoot yourself across.
Right.
They do have where if you want to turn, they do have them in angles as opposed to just straight, fluid motions, which is what makes you feel like sick after a while. It's like,
Yeah.
like I remember playing Alex and I felt that way. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh man, I was like, oh, this is too much. Um, it's interesting. I thought it was a super fun game. I really want to play more of it. I just needed to get off of the headset because my head was like hurting.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. The punching is pretty good. They have these like little mini games that you can play in between in between everything. Like for example, yeah,
Got some
like that
skee ball
guy.
going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah. They make you do things. Like it's like, okay, cool, you're done with the level. So let's go back to the main hub that you came from.
Mm-hmm.
So the first stage is pretty much the bar. So you go back to the bar and then you can punch the bag to get the highest score. You can drink beers, which is for me has it was really strange because I'm sitting there trying to tap it and you're freaking
It
Edward 40 handsing it,
it almost
double
sounds like
fisting it.
Gross.
it almost sounds like Duke Nukem. With how jokey it is with
It is.
some of these
It's
things.
it's very goofy. I like the fact that you can grab people when they're like on a stun mode. When they're stunned, you can like grab them and then throw them across. And a lot of areas you can throw them in or throw
Mhm.
them at, and it's pretty neat. And you get these like as you can see, you can get like these powers. So the more you punch, that's like your meter. Your arms are technically your meter. So it's kind of interesting how they utilize the UI because your arms are pretty much your super meter.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So like you punch your hands together and you get to use whatever the superpower that you decide to use, and you can just go to town and wail at them. So it's a pretty neat game. I look for I need to play it some more, but so far I give this guy like if it didn't give me the I played other games that didn't give me
Motion
headaches like
sickness. Yeah.
yeah like uh, Job Simulator and a few others that allow you to move around frantically to do things. Super Hop did it beautifully,
Yeah, the
but
catch
that's
with
because
those
they're
games
standing in
is
place.
they keep you isolated to a very small
Hmm.
physical space, which honestly that's still the best way I think for VR to translate. Like whenever you have a large environment, although that's the dream, right? That you can walk around a really large VR world. Like they haven't really nailed that down. I think the closest they've done that I think is probably the best for people's motion sickness is that teleporting option, but that
Yeah,
also doesn't usually feel very natural. And it slows down the pace of things a little bit. So I don't know. They're still trying to
yeah,
figure that out.
yeah. I remember I played this like weird Unreal game that allows you to like do like quick shooting.
Hmm.
I forgot exactly. It was like robots and stuff. I forgot the name of the game. But whatever it was by Epic, and you shoot so it's like super fast, and then you shoot yourself across, pew, pew,
Hmm.
pew, 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 and it just feels a lot better rather than having to consistently walk, like move the joystick to walk. I think there's an option. I gotta mess around with the options some more, but you can change the options to do stuff. So I figured, oh, let me just kind of see how it is, with fluid motion. Oh man, try fighting a boss when it's fluid motion. Oh
Yeah.
my
I don't have
gosh.
much. I don't have much frame of reference. I haven't played too much VR. I think the only time I played VR was Phoenix. Were we playing the rooftop thing, walk up the
Oh,
skyline thing, and
Plank or whatever it was.
Resident Evil 4. I think a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw people play that one. I haven't played it yet.
I
I
can't
wanted
recall
to play
how
it.
RE4. I feel like they have the teleporting option. I
It
can't
was
recall.
teleporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching Oni play that game.
Yeah.
It's great.
And I feel like I should just throw this out there since couldn't find any B-roll. So, Mr. Oculus, thank you. We borrowed one of your videos. Shout out to Mr. Oculus. Go,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
All of our million viewers, go check out Mr. Oculus.
Yeah.
so one last thing is, you notice you like grabbing weapons in the air and stuff. There's like this
Mhm.
like slow motion thing. Like if a person has a weapon and you can knock it off of them and it flies in the air and you can grab it.
That's a super
Kind of like
hot kind
super
of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like a super hot thing, and then you could just throw it back at them or use it until it goes away, kind of like Streets of Rage. So it's kind of like, it's neat that you can use, a bunch of your environments like cups, barrels, food. Oh, not food. You eat the food actually. Actually, yeah, you eat the food. You could just grab like all kinds of stuff. It's fun.
Nice.
I give it a name.
Oh,
I had to give it, yeah.
I do love a good
So,
VR game. Like I'm a big proponent for VR just in general. Like I know it's still a little niche and there's things to figure out with movement and all of that, but I don't know, when done well, there's few things that really I think give you that same experience like a good VR game. So I don't know.
yeah. I say pick it up if you have a couple of bucks and you want to pick up something different. You see how he like punches fists together and yeah, that kind of stuff. It's super fun.
Nice.
I think yeah. But I'm done.
Interesting.
All
You've
right.
made me. You convinced me. I'm gonna go buy a VR headset right now. No, I
Well,
can't afford that.
they're all freaking jumping up in price. So
I'm sure.
if you want one, good
Don't-
luck.
Don't get the Pro. They're all getting returned.
Oh, the Meta Pro is?
Yeah.
Oh, why? I haven't heard that.
People are asking for their money back.
Why? I haven't heard any of this. Are they not satisfied with it, or is there like a problem with
A
it?
lot of developers hate it, or something like
Really?
that. Something along those lines.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I
I'm
didn't
really
read
curious
too
why that
deep
is.
into it, but I didn't read too deep into it. I should have.
Have you gotten to hang out with Zuckerberg yet? You haven't hung out with him in his
His
mystical
Meta Land,
realm. His metal.
No, I
metal
have
land.
not.
Meta Realm.
Has he
I
created?
played a little. I was playing a little Decentraland, but that's like a different thing. But it's still in the metaverse. If I
He probably sits
understand.
on like he created a VR throne. He's in some castle.
Yeah.
Imagine he created like a throne of nothing but VR headsets instead of like swords. Just
Pretty
Sounds
much.
just as uncomfortable. So,
yes,
All right,
the skulls
so
of my enemies.
all right, my turn.
your turn for Vampire.
Vampire Survivors. So, this game, like, so I was just gonna put in a frame of reference. I want a game that was like no complexity, just something that I
It's
could
like
just hop
Game
into.
Pass?
It's on Game Pass now. I think when I was wanting to play it, it wasn't on Game Pass yet, but I think the game was like $5 on Steam or something. It's not an expensive game.
It looks like a Dynasty Warriors, but like 8-bit or
Kind
16-bit
of. I
Dynasty
mean,
Warriors.
it's a roguelike at its core. I mean, the whole point is that you have this timer at the top and you have to survive for 30 minutes. That's kind of how you beat a level. And it's a bullet hell, but it's like a reverse bullet hell. You're not dodging the bullets. You are the bullets as you go through. So you only have one control mechanism, and that's just movement. All you do in this entire game is just move. All the weapons and all the bullets and everything just fire automatically. But you see, like, as you're killing enemies on the screen, they drop those little gems. The more gems you get, the more upgrades you get, and you unlock different weapons. And the longer you survive, the more gems you get, the crazier your bullet hellness kind of becomes, until you're basically just this unstoppable killing machine. It's like super frantic, super fast paced. I know the graphics look really simple, but honestly, that plays really well just because it keeps things pretty readable on the screen. Like, the graphics were any more complex, I think you'd have a really hard time trying to figure out what the heck's going on, because it already gets kind of crazy after a while. Like, the entire screen gets full of enemies. There's laser beams flying all over the place. I mean, it's not really that much more to really explain, but it's really, really addictive. Just trying to, survive as long as you can, unlocking weapon combos, and like the weapons can evolve to do crazier kind of effects over time. But I don't know. I mean, I don't have a huge amount more to really say than that, except you should give it a shot. It is on Game Pass, so if you're curious about it, download it. It's, even if you're not on Game Pass, I said it's like $5 on Steam, so it's worth your time. It falls into that same kind of category like a Hades for me, where if I just want to sit down, I've got 30 to 40 minutes just to have a quick run of something. This is a good kind of filler for that kind of experience. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it looks super cheesy and super simple, I know, but it is addictive. And there's actually some complexity to the combat. It doesn't seem like it because you're not actually performing the combat, but every time you pick up gems, you like level up essentially, and you choose which weapon upgrade you're going to go with. And the weapon upgrades start kind of having some symbiosis together. So like if you choose certain upgrades, they pair with others and they evolve your weapons. There's some complexity if you take the time to figure it out.
It looks very... I'm terrible with NES games, but there's an old NES game. It looks very much like... I'm never going to remember the name of it. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I don't know if I was saying anything more than what I already finished saying. I mean, it does look like an old, 8-bit, 16-bit kind of game. Probably more 8-bit than anything else. I wouldn't say it really plays like any old NES game that I'm familiar with.
Castlevania. I had a whip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely throwbacks to, classic like NES Castlevanias. But like, just look how many enemies are on the freaking screen there. It's just like freaking laser diarrhea. I don't know. It's fun. It's fun. So
you don't have enough RAM for all that.
It did slow down my PC once or twice. I mean, the graphics themselves are simple, but there's just so many, independent items on the screen that it can bog down every once in a while. Not that it's, a major hindrance, but I don't know. Check it out if you got the time and just want like something to kind of dig into for a little bit. It doesn't take long for the game to kind of get going and to figure out the systems. Because I said all you do is just move, so it's not like it's a big learning curve.
I had a friend of mine play this game, and I remember just seeing just nothing but nonsense. I was like, "What is going on here?"
Yeah,
it looks so much fun, like
it is
mindless fun.
And that's what I was looking for. I didn't want a game that had to like learn a real complicated system, or have to worry about pacing and exploration. I just wanted a game I could just play and just focus on the core gameplay loop, and that's what this game is. It is just a gameplay loop of just walking around and demolishing everything around you. So super simple, but it definitely gets all those the dopamine kind of running as you go through and see all the numbers start flashing, and makes your brain feel good.
I kind of looked it up, but since you were talking about an indie game, Angry Joe, I actually saw him playing a game called Dave the Diver. I don't know, I thought that looked kind of interesting.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, well, get on it.
Yeah,
you can play it, and then you can talk about it next time.
Next podcast, man.
Dude, there's so many games. Like I want to
There
play.
are a lot of games coming out.
That weird Obsidian game that
Pentiment?
just came out. I really want to play Pentiment.
I was gonna play that for this round, but I decided not to because I want to kind of give it a chance.
Well, that just dropped, right? It's
like today. I thought it was today that it dropped.
Even if it didn't get a 10, I was already interested in that game just because it looks weird. And weird. But,
that's like a mystery game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's like a point and click,
old-timey like detective kind of thing.
Yeah, I did see that. I was like, man, that looks fun. But the crazy part is, I thought I looked at it. I was like, Obsidian? What the hell?
Well,
that's unusual.
Because during the Microsoft event, everyone was because Obsidian had been saying they had another project they were working on other than what's the
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds 2. They said they had another project, and a lot of people were speculating whether it was like some crazy RPG that they're known for, and they were like, nope, here's what we're working on. It's this weird medieval thing.
Good throw.
I like that.
Yeah, something different. I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I know the next thing's kind of on my horizon's going to be Pokemon. I said Arceus at the beginning of the year kind of got me back in the Pokemon kick a little bit, so I'm not sure if the new one's gonna have the same appeal, but we'll see.
Thinking about waiting on Pokemon.
I'll probably pick it up because we're going to Thanksgiving, so I'll actually have a bit of a break, hopefully. So I'll get a chance to actually play something.
I know my game I'm looking forward to is what was it, Callisto Protocol?
Oh, the Dead Space knockoff.
That's at the beginning of December. Did you know that game got blocked in Japan?
I saw that. It was was too gory. It was like something very specific. Like
they said gore. I thought it was.
I thought it was like a specific type. Like it was like dismemberment or something like that. It wasn't just like gore in general because Japan can get pretty gory. It was a certain aspect of the gore that they had a problem with. I don't remember, but yeah, I did see that.
Squids, fine. Gore, no.
I don't know about that.
Japan
man. If
has
you watch Parasite the Maximum, I mean, their anime gets really gnarly. Like they've got some really dark ones.
They've got a very flexible set of standards over there, so they got to decide what's fair game at any given point. But I don't know, weird stuff.
All right.
Is that all of our plans? All of our what you playing section? We good?
I think so. Yeah, I think we're all good. So I don't know. We're moving on to one of our other topics, our highlights from the Horde, where we get to kind of pull out a cool little thing from our collection, or I don't know.
Pull out your thing. Not on this channel, Chaz. This is a PG-13.
Peggy 18. Peggy 6.
ChazmaN just got canceled. Cancel ChazmaN. Hashtag cancel ChazmaN.
There's not enough people out there to cancel you. There's like 2.
There's one. There's one person reported me. One.
It was me.
So it was you. All right. So who wanted to go first with their item?
No. Well,
I'll go.
Go for it.
Do it.
All right. So didn't know what to find. I was looking all around. I don't know. There's nothing clicking in my brain.
There's never anything clicking in your brain.
That's nothing new.
Nothing.
That's nothing
It's
new,
just a squirrel running around. But
I thought it was a monkey.
Oh yeah. Basically. Yeah, I was thinking of something, and I remembered that one of my favorite things growing up as a kid, I used to love drawing, and I remember my mom, or whenever I'd go to the store with my mom, one of my favorite things to do was to run over to the magazine section and to beg her to buy me the Beckett Dragon Ball Z
nice.
I remember those.
card magazines. If
Very
you don't,
nice.
or am I on the big screen? I don't remember. You forgot to do that.
I'm sorry. Let me switch over. There you go.
Yeah, if you don't know, back in the day, in stores on the magazine shelves, if you don't remember, Beckett's was like this magazine. They didn't just make Dragon Ball, but they made just like magazines where they would talk about the cards, stats, I think prices and stuff. That wasn't necessarily the reason I bought them, just because I was Dragon Ball fan. But I guess I'll show some of the other ones. But yeah, we got Boo, we got Vegetars.
Ooh, that's a cool one.
I love these things. That's Yu. I just got them mixed in.
There's Inuyasha there too.
Yeah, buddy.
GT. What else? Yeah, that's Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, that's a showed you that they made other ones. But yeah, basically my favorite thing again to do, which is why I didn't do good in school, is I used to love drawing. The teacher would talk, and I would just sit there and draw Dragon Ball characters all day.
Scribble.
Basically, and the reason why I love these magazines so much is one of my favorite things to do. Every section, every week when they had one, people would send up their submissions for their drawings, and I used to love going in. I'd go straight to that page and compare my drawings to what other young people were sending in.
Do you have any of your drawings?
My drawings?
Yeah.
No.
That's what I wanted to see. I thought that's where this was going. I was about to be like, I'm about to see a whole new size of ChazmaN.
But this is like kind of the stuff that people would send in. It has an age, people's drawings. Well, too bright.
Man, that reminds me of like Nintendo Power.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like
basically
they would send up stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss magazines like that.
Those.
And I like that little bio burly on the back.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. I love those things, man. There's nothing more nostalgic than, like, I would just run into the store. My mom would be shopping, and I'm over in the magazine sections just reading all the stupid Beckett's things. I didn't even get them for the cards, and they were mainly for the cards. Yeah. I just got them because They were Dragon Ball, and they had pretty pictures. That's all I needed at the time.
Very cool. Those are
Very
neat.
nice.
I like those.
Yeah, I'm actually tempted to start going onto eBay. I want to start getting all of them. I want to start looking to see if I can find them cheap. Because I remember looking like last year, and you could find them for like $5. You could get like a pack, like a whole stack.
Oh,
of
really?
them. Yeah, they're
Wow.
not. They're. I don't think I'm the only
Person out there who
only
wants
loser.
them. Yeah.
I'm the only loser going through eBay. Like Beckett's.
That's the time to get
Beckett's.
something though, like when nobody else is doing it, because like now, like say you want to do Nintendo Power, good luck, man. Some of those are going like
Oh.
$50, $60, $80 for certain editions. So
Isn't
like,
the first one with Mario on it like $100 magazine?
depending
or
on the
something?
quality too, it can be even more than that. So and the last one, like if you have the first and the last one in pristine condition, man, it's like thousands of dollars, I think, depending. So I don't know.
Especially if they still have the magazine on the inside or
the poster.
The poster, and they don't
Yeah.
have that ripped out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right. So who wants to go next? That was my enter ChazmaN's childhood right there.
I can go to kind of keep the childhood nostalgia going because I kind of did a similar thing. So not a gaming item, but a little bit of '90s nostalgia.
Is it a Pog?
No, I actually had to find some Pogs in my parents' attic the other day. I think I've shown you guys this. Found at a pawn shop a while back. The Nickelodeon blast alarm clock deal.
I remember you picking that up. Yeah.
That's old school.
I know, man. It's legit 90. Oh man, I'm sure it says it back here.
Oh my gosh.
It's got like 95.
Does it ooze you? Goo you?
95. Yep.
Slime
But-
you?
That sets me
And it
back.
still works. On. Let's see if I can get to
I don't hear a thing.
nothing. Oh, speakers. Should be able to hear something.
Oh, there you go. I heard for a second.
Yeah, so it all lights up and all that good stuff. Found it at a pawn shop. It was sitting in like their like tablet display area. They had like
You have
50...
it on the big screen?
Hmm?
Or do you have it on the big
Yeah,
screen, or-
yeah.
okay.
They can see it.
It's
I
hard
think
to tell from mine.
they want like $50 or $60 for it, which is actually about what it goes for. I said, nah, I'm gonna hold off on it. It was like a Cash America, so they have that thing where like if you wait, another month, it drops $10 and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So I waited like 3 months because I was waiting for it to get to like half price. Then I walked in one day and it was just gone. I was like, ah, crap, I missed it. And I turned
Did you ask
around.
about it?
Well, no, I turned around. They had like this like rolly cart of like all this like stuff they were just trying to get rid of. And they had it there for like $5. They were finally tired of holding on to it. It's like, yeah, sweet. But it works great. I think there's probably some dead bugs in it. I haven't decided to open it up and clean it out. But I think my daughter wants it. She's like, I want that as my alarm clock. And I'm like, that's why you're my favorite kid. So that's it. That's mine. A little bit of
Nice.
90s
So-
nostalgia for you.
So a weird little question: should I start splicing up these segments? Like, because normally when I post this segment, I normally just post all of our things. Should I start like
Don't
cutting them
splice
up
it
into
up.
their
No,
own?
I
Don't
wouldn't do
splice it
like.
up?
No, I
That
wouldn't.
makes even more work for me. So I don't know.
No, like if you want to, and anybody in the comments who cares or is paying attention, you could offer your
Maybe
suggestion. It might be
we
good
should
if you
make
want to
them
do like
more-
a little like video clip for like a TikTok or something. If you want to show off like an individual item, but I wouldn't make an individual YouTube video for
To
this.
make
but-
the viewers work for it. You got to watch the whole thing to see what we're showing off. I guess
yeah, either way.
Mhm.
All right, Metal, up to you. Round,
Alright
bring us
then.
home.
you've got to have
Alright.
something old and nostalgic, something that
Old.
tickles us.
Well, I had the same thought actually.
Oh,
a
we
couple
all
of-
went
All
old.
feeling nostalgia.
Yeah, you know what it is. I'm looking around and I'm like, man, what do I have? And I was like, ooh, I have a small series of things actually. But it's not kind of like in the same realm. So I'm just gonna start. Actually, I'm gonna save that for last because
Oh,
Alright,
cards.
so-
It's cards of some sort.
no, it's not actually. So you
Oh,
guys know
shoot.
I like listening to music and stuff. Obviously, we
Mhm.
all do. But I like to look at, I like to collect stuff as well. So I found a couple of things in my old collection, and I think you guys might find this kind of interesting. So the first one I'm going to start off with is I have something like this.
Sonic Boom.
Yeah, this is not the same Sonic
Yeah.
Boom as today's Sonic Boom. This
That
is
is-
from
That's
like
the old
1993.
CD. Oh, what was it? Just like it's like the soundtrack, right? Or like
it's the
inspired
soundtrack.
by clips or something.
I've
Uh-huh.
never seen that.
So yeah, this is really really interesting. I remember listening to this, and it had like Lava Powerhouse from like
Mm-hmm.
Sonic Spinball, the Toxic Cave, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, I love Sonic Spinball. That's like
Yeah.
my favorite. I do not know why.
What
It's just
console's that
amazing.
for? I don't even
It
know.
was
Is that
Genesis.
like
Genesis.
Genesis? Oh, okay.
So it has all kinds of stuff here. So It's missing the front cover, man. It's been ages. I don't care. It still works.
Have you listened
So
to it
that's
recently? Like, is it all in good condition, like not scratched up?
it's actually pretty decent considering. I have to
You
pop
should
it in the
like
car and see
you
what's
should
up.
probably rip that to something so you
I should.
rip
Now,
it to your computer.
yeah. So a couple more things. This one, this the front of this case looks like garbage, but this is like I found this a long time ago, and the Mario and Zelda
Oh,
Big
nice.
Band Live CD,
Mm-hmm.
The heck?
and
They need a
yep,
jewel case for that guy. That's cool.
yeah, I need this one's all beat the heck back, heck
Who's the
back.
big band? I don't know who that is.
This is supposed to be like different big band arrangements,
Oh,
and
like
Big
it's
easy
band
all in
like
band.
Japanese.
orchestrations,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all in Japanese. They're all live, and it sounds awesome. I played the heck out of this thing.
Hmm,
Like this is like
interesting.
one of my favorite like things. Like it's just it brings me back. So then I found this weird gem too. Galaxy of Games.
I had that. Oh,
Yeah.
I think it was that yellow edition too. I remember those e-games. Yeah.
Yep. E-games. That's right. So I thought this was like I probably can't find. I just threw out my computers. I could probably play it.
Oh
What
yeah.
is it,
I
like
think you guys have
a
like a Windows 98 machine or something to get that to even operate now. Run it
Yeah.
in DOSBox or something.
Yeah. I mean, I could get DOS. I got DOSBox somewhere. So now I'm gonna run into this guy. So this one people might really enjoy. So I had this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Zelda?
had this thing since 99. It's literally the actual soundtrack for
Yeah,
the
the
game.
OST for it.
The OST, like I don't know, I remember how I got it, but I ended up getting it.
I
think
feel like
I
they were
might
giving
have
them
one of
out. Yeah, I
those.
think those are pretty common. It was either like a pre-order bonus or something. I feel like you got that.
I think I got it with Majora's Mask
That might
or
have
some
been it.
crap like that. I don't remember exactly.
I could have swore it was a
But
pre-order with one of those games.
yep. Then this guy,
Oh,
I found
ooh.
this guy. This is a nice little, not, you know, a plastic cover, and this one has 2 discs.
Ooh.
This is a double disc, and I found this at a swap meet. I got it for $2,
Nice.
and
$2.
it has a really $2. I thought it was $3. So I thought this was really cool.
That is.
Yeah, and then the last one, and I saved the best for last. I've had this thing forever. When I lived in Puerto Rico, I could not get much out there. However, I had this thing sent to me. I bought it from Japan and I got it sent over. And I listened to this thing to hell and back. And I really enjoy this. The Final Fantasy VII OST. Original soundtrack with everything that you can possibly think of. Art book. And you open it up. It has 4 CDs. I even have the original invoice
Nice.
when I bought it.
What's the date on it? As a curiosity.
Let's see. 9/21/2001.
It's on voice, not invoice.
On voice.
I don't know.
So I thought it was very interesting, and it came with stickers, which I've never
Ooh.
used. It came with cool little stickers, and it was 4 discs. Yeah, all of the original Nobuo Uematsu stuff is in here, and then the booklet had all of the artwork for Final Fantasy VII, so it was pretty neat.
That is cool.
Yeah, so I heard this thing throughout the entire my high school days, and I listened to it so much. So this thing holds a super special place in my heart.
Yeah.
It got me through high school.
What a nerd.
I can tell you that.
No, that's a cool little collection there of little game OSTs and CDs. I've got a couple of them, but nowhere near to that extent. Those are awesome.
The only one I don't have that I really want is I want that Mortal Kombat OST.
I've got that.
The original movie.
I've got the ones for the movies. I've got Annihilation, and I've got the one for the actual game soundtrack.
What? Oh, I just want
That's
the movie
cool.
one.
Yeah, I've got Hold on, let me see. Well, now I'll get it later.
Techno Syndrome.
Okay, hold on. Now I gotta get them. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Oh man, I made
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, these are phenomenal. If I ever find more, I want more of these things. Like I love original
I've,
soundtracks.
I've got a handful of them in the garage, in my garage.
They're so
And
much fun, man.
I agree.
I freaking love these things.
See, my I have a huge CD collection. That's the only thing I don't have out on display, and that's because I just don't have enough room in, in my game.
Yeah.
I don't know where I
Alright.
would display them.
I'm gonna hijack your segment, Serrano, just because
Do
it's such a
it.
good idea. So this is my, I think this might be all of my a few more of my game-related CDs. So where's that Mortal Kombat one? So there is the original. I'll go to the big screen real quick. Yeah. So this is from the first movie, Mortal Kombat,
Yeah,
the
buddy.
album.
I don't have that one.
Yeah, buddy. Look
Mortal
at that.
Kombat Annihilation, which I love this one.
Ooh. I actually don't like
Okay, the movie's meh, but
I
the
don't remember the
soundtrack.
music.
Oh man, what's the one? My favorite one on here. It's like the fire. I don't remember where it's at.
Oh,
That's a good
that
one.
one, yeah.
And then the game one. It's a little hard to see. Oh, getting some
Ooh.
shine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's got the
That's cool.
OST from the game.
I would totally like get that.
And then another one of my favorites. Got the Tony Hawk 3
Oh,
soundtrack.
no,
Wish it was 2.
two.
I wish it was 2, but
Who's the best one?
they're all good though. Like it's hard to find a Tony Hawk soundtrack that isn't good. This
I bet
has
you that one doesn't have Papa Roach on it.
no, but okay. It's got Melancholy. It's got Drowning Pool. It's got Alien Ant Farm. Sum 41. NoFX. Pennywise. Like Papa Roach.
Nice.
Like it's got
Hey.
Deftones.
Papa Roach.
That's
is on
awesome.
that? Is it Blood Brothers or is it a different song?
Infest.
Okay, so it's a different. I remember. It's not
Yeah.
Blood Brothers.
Got
It doesn't
Outcast
count.
on here. I don't have B.O.B. on here. Oh. Wait, look.
Corruption
And then Chaz, you'll probably like
Cool.
this one.
Ooh.
I listen to that one like once a month.
I
would listen to
love
it.
the Mass Effect soundtrack. I mean, I love Mass Effect in general, but especially the first game, just the mood of that soundtrack is so good. So.
The whole like the song that I can hear it in my head. The song that plays when you're walking around the Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun,
Ding,
dun,
ding,
dun,
ding.
dun, 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 dun. I hear it everywhere.
No. Sorry, I hijacked your
Nice.
segment, but that was a good one.
It's
I
okay.
love good OSTs.
Hold on, that reminds me, Phoenix. Hold on.
Yeah, OSTs are where it's at.
Oh, now
man.
we're losing
Like,
Chaz. He's gonna find his.
It's okay. See, like, look what I started. No, OSTs are where it's at, man. Like if I could find Metroid, man, I'd get all the Metroid soundtracks.
Yeah.
I thought I had the Mario soundtrack somewhere.
My haul,
Oh,
my next haul
you
item.
jerk! My freaking legendary copy. I borrowed it like 2 years ago. Never gonna see it again.
What a jerk!
It's got dust all over.
You played like half of the first game or something. That was
I
it.
played the whole first game.
Did you? Well, still.
Yeah.
Finish it and give it back.
Yeah, I'll give it. Well, you still got to pick up your New York shirt.
Oh, yeah. It's all good.
That's
Alright, I
awesome.
just-
Good stuff.
I'm good. I just wanted
Yep,
to
yep.
throw that at you.
That's enjoyable. Enjoyable music.
Okay, so is that all of our highlights? That is.
I think so.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our speedrun news
Speedrun.
topics for the day. So give Phoenix just a second to
I'm
kind
good.
of get
I'm set.
his bearings. You're all good.
I'm bared.
You're bared. All right. So speaking of Mass Effect, we'll run into our first speedrun topic for the day. If you didn't know, N7 day just passed on the 7th, and there were. I'll let Phoenix kind of take this on because you said there were. I just got to read the article before we hopped on. I totally missed N7 day, but you said, stemming from this, there were quite a few speculations that people have been talking about. So
Yeah, so
things.
I mean, a lot of it. I mean, if you're not familiar with N7 Day, it's just kind of a big celebration for all the Mass Effect nerds like us. But if you scroll down, like almost to the bottom of that page, Chaz, there's like a little video clip. We don't need to play the video. Yeah, there it is. It shows like just a busted up old mass relay, and apparently one of the devs is just like, you better scour this. There's a lot of little hidden details about what the next game's gonna be like. So all the Mass Effect fans are going crazy. Like they're looking at it and like you can tell that the coloring on it is like Cerberus on the little MR down there. Apparently, if you watch the whole video, there's like ships flying around that might be the Normandy. So people are saying, "Oh, is Shepard still alive?" All that kind of stuff. So a lot of speculation. I'm not saying we need to dig into any of that necessarily, but I know at least Chaz is a big Mass Effect fan, and along with me, I don't know if Metal. Have you even played the Mass Effects?
I've only played the first one.
That's
and
the
then I
best one. I
stopped.
mean, to be fair.
Yeah.
I guess like I'm just curious. I mean, not even so much about what they talked about, but what are you wanting to see in the next Mass Effect game? Because it's definitely coming, and we've already been let down once with Andromeda. So I'll just kind of start the timer and just freeform. What do you think? What do you want to see in the next Mass Effect?
Go ahead and start it. But before we move on, I just wanted to say, someone who enjoys some of my videos, Little Lencho in chat says, "Awesome segment. Wish I hadn't missed the first half." So thank you for tuning in. We love having you here.
Hey, someone said something to us. I'm so happy.
yeah, we got viewers.
Singular.
So go. What were you said?
What do you want to see in the next Mass Effect? Like the big thing they're talking about. Okay, do you want to see Shepard come back? Like, are you happy that he is killed off and done in the original trilogy? Or do you want to see him come back in what will be Mass Effect 5?
I would like for them to bring him back if they can do it tastefully. If they can like surround him and like with a I don't want to say an actual good game because I don't want to be mean to Andromeda. I feel like there was some fun, and I never got to finish Andromeda, but I probably got like 60% through. And I feel like there was some fun in there, but I just couldn't connect with the twins. I don't remember their name.
It's like Ryder and something else.
Right, Sarah Ryder and something Ryder. I remember, but I just couldn't connect with those two characters. That's I guess in a way it's going to very much tie into our God of War Ragnarok talk, where it's like, when you spend enough time with a certain character, I don't know, I feel like I built a rapport with Shepard, and I want to play more as Shepard and not as the Ryder twins. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm totally open for it. I would like that or prefer it if they can do it tastefully.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not necessarily opposed to, like, I think Andromeda for me was less the twins. It was just missing that thing that made Mass Effect, whatever that was. I don't know if it was the lack of other alien species or like the antagonist was kind of weak. I don't know. It just didn't feel quite right. I don't know if it was so much the characters. I got used to Ryder over a while, so it wasn't really that for me.
Mass Effect was that whole feeling of like we've talked about it before, but that whole feeling of like, I guess it's very much like Star Trek vibes, where like that whole aspect of like diplomacy, building a team, building camaraderie.
Well, I think they had that in Andromeda, but it just didn't land right. I don't know. It always felt like it was, I don't know. It was like, what's a good way to say this? It felt like it was pretending or playing to be Mass Effect. Like it was always just a little off. Like it was a guise of Mass Effect. It didn't feel earnest enough. I don't know. Something was just off the entire time about Andromeda to me. But the game, at least the combat, was much improved. So I'll give them that.
I'll say it again, man. I tried playing that game twice, and I had game-breaking bugs both times.
See, I didn't have that issue.
That was the biggest problem with the game for me, is I couldn't finish the game.
Yeah.
I approached one bug that I had to look up, and they're like, "Yep, if you get this, you can't continue on." I'm like,
was that just one that was like in the release window, or something that's been fixed recently?
It was later.
Really?
It was later. Like it was like a year or two after the release. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't run into any bugs like that. But maybe I just lucked out. Anyway, going back to the Shepard stuff. No, you're fine. I say Andromeda. I mean, I had issues with, probably not the same issues as you, but it definitely didn't hit that Mass Effect sweet spot. As far as Shepard coming back, I'd like to see him, only because I don't feel like he got resolved very well. Maybe it's because, I mean, there was all that, hullabaloo over the original ending of 3 and how unsatisfactory that was, even with the extended endings, et cetera, but I don't know. There was still just a lot of ambiguity about what they did with Shepard, if what he really chose to do, if his story was over. And I'm one of those terrible conspiracy theorists who buy into the indoctrination theory. I understand that's been basically disproven by the actual devs, saying we weren't even smart to come up with that idea, but it's such a good theory that fits everything so well. I'd want to see a game come back and make that canon. So, not saying that's going to happen. I'm sure that's what most people don't want, but I'd want to see Shepard back.
What direction would you want? Would you want some sort of return of the Reapers? Would you want some new deadly force attacking the Milky Way galaxy?
I feel like
What
it's got to
direction?
tie back into the Reapers,
The Reapers?
some
Yeah.
way. I mean, maybe I'm holding on too much to what the game used to be. I'd honestly like it to be like a game that kind of starts going one direction and then something pulls it back to the original conflict. Like maybe they were talking about time travel as a possibility in this new game, or some kind of like wormhole that brings you back. So like maybe connects the Andromeda stuff to the stuff that was happening in the Milky Way in the original battle, and that kind of may revitalizes that Shepherd conflict. I don't know. I think there's some cool stuff they can do there.
Maybe something happens and you get, I don't know, you get taken back to it. I heard your
Yeah,
alert.
yeah, it's our time.
But maybe something cool, like maybe you get taken back into time, and you go to like a reality where like Saren won and the Reapers won, and you have to like find a way to pull humanity back out.
Yeah,
at whatever cost.
I just feel there's still a little more they could do there. I know some people are wrapped up with it. And I'll wrap up my comics. I know we're done, but I don't know. I feel like a wormhole thing could connect everything together. I guess the big issue right now is the stuff that happens in Andromeda is like 600 years after the original trilogy. But that's the whole thing with like wormholes, is that it branches space and time. So they could be doing something completely different, and then all of a sudden link to the old trilogy, which could be a fun thing. But I'll leave it there.
And then again, with my idea, you could bring back old characters. Saren.
Yeah.
People loved Saren, bring back.
Yeah, I'm not saying you need a whole game where you play as Shepard again, but I'd like to see him come back as like an auxiliary character. Not even you play as Shepard, just like he's there, or like you go to find Shepard. I don't know. He's some person or persona in that world still that you can interact with would be neat. But all right, let's move along. Keep our 5 minutes best we can.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to topic number 2, and I'll let you kind of take this one on, Phoenix, because I think
Didn't
this is
I take on the last one too?
Or I don't know.
I'm doing all your work.
Our next topic is apparently the PlayStation VR 2 release date and price has been revealed. I'm super bright right now. But yeah, Sony announced that it will be officially released on February 22nd, 2023, for the whopping price of $550. Pre-orders will begin on November 15th. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this seems very, very high to me. I mean, I don't think that's within my budget. What about you guys?
You go ahead, Metal. You're kind of the VR aficionado, so what are your thoughts on that?
Boy. I mean,
is there
for $550, man? Like, I don't know. I mean,
is
that's more than the system itself. I'm not even able to afford the system. Get out of here.
Well, that's the thing too. So it's not that okay. So you gotta get the headset for $550. You still have to have a PS5. So this is a $1,000 investment to play PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Is there?
I'm good.
Forgive me for I know not, but
never.
Is there a huge difference between Oculus and VR or PSVR? Like in the games.
Well, I mean, game-wise,
yeah,
back and forth, but I'm sure it runs a lot more smoother, and there's a lot of little things since it's meant for the system itself. It's a lot, they tailor it to what they got.
The game offerings are different, if that's what you're getting at. Like Sony has just like its regular PS platform. It's got their first party titles. So they have a Horizon game. There's what was another exclusive one they had? I think they had like the Iron Man game. I think was exclusive to the old PSVR. So they have their exclusive franchises on their VR, and that's the only place you can play them at. I think my issue though is unless they have a huge amount of support for the VR2. VR1, they had some games for it. Nothing earth-shattering. I don't feel like they overly supported that. And if you're going to get a VR kit, you need to make sure you've got plenty of stuff to play. And stuff like the Quest, you have so many more options because you can like side load on that thing, which basically you rootkit it and you can go in. Yeah, you can side load other games that aren't even on the Oculus store. So you have so many more options if you go with like a PC focused headset.
It's kind of like PSVR is kind of like the iPhone to Oculus's Android.
Very proprietary. Yeah. And I guess what throws me off is like I've heard really good things from everybody who has had any kind of tech demo with the PSVR 2. I don't have any doubt that it's going to be a really cool piece of tech, but that price, man, like even if you already have a PlayStation 5, I am not interested in spending $550 on a PSVR 2, and I like VR a lot, so I don't know. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
I don't think I would purchase something like that either. Even if I had a PS5, I don't think I would even go out of my way to get that. I'm sorry.
All right, listen, Sony, it's on the table. I've already told you if you make the most intricate and awesome Yu-Gi-Oh VR game. I will go out and buy a VR headset.
See, I don't think you want a VR game. You want an AR game, augmented, so it can,
kind of both.
Yeah.
which you could do
Play.
with a VR headset, but
yeah.
Now, one of the games, the few of the games that they had on it, like they had some of the stuff that they showed was pretty cool, like the Jurassic World and whatnot. But
that's right.
I mean, they had, I mean, there's a couple of games that you can play on the Oculus Store, like Pistol Whip.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
like Pistol Whip is a fantastic game. I mean, if you haven't played it, it's
or you
awesome.
can play like Beat Saber. Okay, here's the other thing. I just want to mention this because we're running out of time. So there's the price issue. Here's the other thing, which I think is really going to be a value detriment for them. This thing is not backwards compatible with any other older PSVR
right. I
one
forgot
stuff.
about that.
And that, honestly, that was the reason I was holding off picking up a cheap initial PSVR. Because I'm like, well, the VR2 is clearly going to be backwards compatible. Why wouldn't it be? So then I can play the old stuff and the new stuff. That makes it a better value proposition. Yeah, it's pricey, but I'll start out with a pretty large catalog of games. Now you're not. You're locked into only these new games that work on it, which is going to be a pretty slim offering. And let's be real, only a few of them are going to be worth it, if that. I don't know. I feel like this is really kind of tone deaf as far as a pricing is going to work for most people.
I mean, just
I agree.
Listen, PlayStation. Just be happy you guys are going to be able to play Call of Duty on there. I'm kidding.
It's gonna give you a freaking headache, that's for sure.
I'm gonna get so much hate. Someone's gonna hate me.
Maybe I'll tell you, Sony has been making some really anti-consumer decisions as of late. Like, I'm not even coming down to which platform is better or worse or games, but just like looking at some of the choices they're making with like pricing and like, I don't know, it's really not something that's appealing, I think, to the average consumer. The way they're not supporting multi-platform or cross-play for certain stuff, I don't know, it's leaving a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, including mine. And this PSVR stuff is just kind of, the most recent example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't hear the whistle.
You got 5 seconds. This is it. Last moments. Anything to say?
I ain't buying it. Screw
it.
that.
That's gonna be the quote on the box. I ain't buying it.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's Konami, right? So you have to go talk to Konami. Maybe they'll make a pachinko machine for you.
It's time.
I'll buy it.
All right, one more topic.
All right. Okay,
Pachinko
so
machines.
so what do we got? We have one more topic. Yep. So we're gonna move on to something else that we thought was very. Oh my gosh, my brightness! It's like the sun.
All you see is the beard.
The sun opens up in here.
Like
the sun.
So yeah. So if you, I mean, I just kind of throwing it out there. Do you guys like the Game Awards? Do you guys ever get to? I know Phoenix is not a fan. I'm the only one I feel like that actually watches it every year, and I hate it afterwards.
It's just become this big ad fest. I mean, it's mostly just trailers and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. It's not a show for me personally, but
it ain't no E3. I can tell you that.
No, there's a lot of filler in this event, man. Every year I watch it, I'm expecting to watch it for like an hour and a half, and it goes on for 3 to 4 hours, and it's like, dude, how much could you possibly have here? I don't know. But yeah, so basically, the Game Awards, they kind of announced their nominees for all of their different awards. I think, I don't know, did you guys just want to just look at the Game of the Year? I feel like that's...
Yeah, we don't need to go through all of these.
Stuff.
Maybe as we get closer to the actual show, we can give our predictions on stuff. Okay. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to look at what they had for official nominees for Game of the Year and kind of go from there.
Okay. So yeah, they have 6 games. They have A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles.
So out of that list, Chaz, how many of those have you played?
I have played Elden Ring, although for a short amount of time, God of War Ragnarok, and Stray. I've played 3 out of 6, so 50%. So
out of those 3, which one would be your Game of the Year?
God of War.
Okay.
And I'm not like... to me, it's... I don't want to say by default, because I am enjoying God of War, but it's not like a... I don't know, if there were better games, I don't know.
I thought you were going to go with Stray. I thought you liked Stray so much.
Stray was okay. There wasn't much to Stray. I'll be honest.
I can't believe that's in this list.
How is it even on the list?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Because it's a PlayStation game, I guess. I
don't know if that's.
No,
I mean, to be fair,
it's a cat game.
It's probably. I mean, it's a unique game, so I mean, I'll give them that. There really just hasn't been a huge amount this year. I think it's probably part of it. Out of that list, Serrano, Metal, how many have you played? Did you catch any of those?
I caught a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, did you?
I know that I know it's a good game. I have the first one, and I really wanted to play the other two. I can't fork over $60 to play.
I think those just seem too daunting to me. Like I wouldn't play the third one before I want to do the first one, but I can't go through the first one and then think about the second one and then play the third one.
They're massive, but I can see why that would end up there. Like as far as that, because those games are fantastic.
So just real quick, do you want to just go through I have a list here of 2022 releases, just to blast through and see if there's anything you guys would want on there.
I'm surprised Arceus isn't on there. Like I know
I was just gonna say Pokemon Arceus is right here.
Like I know that was a little divisive. Not everybody loved it, but I mean, if I'm looking at Stray as a potential candidate, I'd imagine Arceus should be up there as well. So yeah, I would think that should be there.
I hate to say
if you take a look,
I had a lot of fun playing Nobody Saves the World with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a game of the year though. I definitely enjoyed it.
If you go back up again, you'll see that game Paparazzi.
I heard about that
equivalent. That's the equivalent to Stray, pretty much. Just dogs running around doing stuff.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
So let's see. We got Seafood, Dying Light, Ollie Ollie World, Crossfire X.
Horizon's there, and that's on the list.
Horizon's further down.
That's the DLC, right?
Yep.
Oh, never mind.
No, that's the new one, right?
I see it. Yeah.
I'm surprised. Was Horizon on the list? It was, right?
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't pick Horizon, and I love Horizon in general. I
remember you weren't super fond of it.
Well, here's the thing. I enjoyed it a lot, but it felt too much like the first game. Like there was almost nothing about them. Like, okay, this is better than the first game. Like it had a couple of moments in it, but the first game to me, stands above that head and shoulders. So it's hard for me to recommend that as game of the year if the prior game was better than it. But
so should Tiny Tina's be on there?
For my fun factor, yeah, I really enjoyed Tiny Tina's. I know it's not, I think, anything overly innovative, which is probably the thing. Like it really is just Borderlands with a new skin on it. So I don't know if I'd say.
I'm almost surprised something like Tunic isn't on there instead of Stray. Like I feel like
is Tunic on any of the indie lists?
Oh, it's probably on an indie list.
Because I'd be surprised if it's not there at all. I feel like that'd be a pretty big oversight.
Best games for Impact, ongoing, indie.
There it is.
It's on the last one.
Okay.
It barely made it.
Well, it might be alphabetical.
Got Weird West. Major titles I'm looking for. Something. Truck to Yomi now. Evil Dead. Cuphead DLC. That's DLC though.
Mm-hmm.
Or let Pac-Man Museum be a part of it.
Oh, Diablo Immortal. That should be on there.
Yeah, it is on one of them. It's on, I think, the mobile list of top games.
TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Fall Guys. Although that's like Fall Guys came out way before.
Yeah, that was just finally released on Xbox and Switch.
I heard Live Alive was pretty good, but that's an old game that got ported.
Yeah, but I don't think that would necessarily keep it off the list. I've seen older remake games end up on the Game of the Year list before.
I think was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I think that was on there.
Surprised Cult of the Lamb wasn't on anything, because that was a pretty big one.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to keep going. I was just curious.
Oh, no, that's good. I couldn't remember really what even came out this year. It's been a weird year for games.
I forgot that Splatoon 3 came out.
Oh yeah, I know that's on. I think the multiplayer list.
Yeah,
that is weird. I just thought about it. There's not a Nintendo game on there, is there?
I just.
It's all PlayStation.
Well, on the Game of the Year.
On the thing.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Oh no, Xenoblade Chronicles. That is Nintendo.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing else crazy. There's Tunic again.
There's a few. I think oversights from the list. Like first, I would have thought Arceus should have been on there. Maybe Tunic. I mean, if they're putting Stray on there, I feel like something like Tunic should probably have made it.
I didn't get to play Mario and Rabbids. I wonder. I didn't hear anything about that game. It kind of just came and went.
It came out. It got good reviews, and then just kind of disappeared. I don't know.
Interesting.
Sonic Frontiers.
Well, I will say for me, there is one more game left that could possibly make my list.
Your
Goat Simulator
Protocol.
3. Goat Simulator.
Callisto Protocol, December 2nd.
Oh,
I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna be at a
What the
wedding.
hell is Wobble Dogs?
December 2nd, I'm gonna be at a wedding.
Wah wah.
You're not getting married. Get out of here.
You hush up. I'm getting married. Yep. What else we got?
That's really about it. I mean, looking at what released this year, I mean, I see why those games they picked are in the list. I don't know.
I see it too. I don't see.
Okay,
I mean, there's some other stuff. We got High on Life coming out in December. Callisto Protocol. There's still some good games.
What's the cutoff though? Like, when is the Game Awards? Like, how long does the game need to release before it qualifies? Like, sometimes there's like a window there.
I have no idea how their stuff works, to be honest.
All right, so out of that list, we pull up the actual list of nominees again. So, out of those, I think the two that are going to be vying for the top spot is going to be either Ragnarok or EnteR. So, which one do you think is going to take home?
Which one do I hope, or which one do I think?
Which one do you think is going to win? If you had to do a prediction.
I think God of War. I just think God of War is such a big name. I couldn't imagine Elden Ring, even though Elden Ring had a lot of talk. I couldn't imagine God of War could get knocked off by. I'll be honest. I feel like From Software is big now, but I still think they're. I don't want to say niche. They're not niche. They're a huge developer, but like those games, I don't feel like are totally approachable, in my opinion.
That's just because you suck at these kind of games, Chaz.
Yes.
No, I get what you're saying though. I mean, I agree. I think God of War is probably going to take the win. I think it probably should be Elden Ring, though, looking at it. Just because Elden Ring, I think, was the more... Man, I'm going to get punished for saying this. The more ambitious game? I don't know. Like, we'll talk about Ragnarok here in just a little bit. And it's an excellent game, but
Doesn't it feel weird? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So doesn't it feel weird to have a game in your Game of the Year list that just came out, like, 4 days ago? Like...
Yeah, well... I mean,
how much prior did these guys get the game to play? I mean,
well, to be fair though, like a game like God of War or Ragnarok, like once you experience it, I mean, I think you usually can wrap your thoughts around it pretty quick and gauge your feelings on it.
Same thing with A Plague Tale. That game just came out like maybe a week ago.
But they're not. I mean, they're long games, but they're not like like it's a game like Elden Ring has a lot of depth to it. Like you could play that game for hundreds of hours and experience it differently. So that game's gonna take a long time to kind of soak in, I think, and end up at a final score. Something like God of War, like you'll play through it once, and that's probably it for most people, at least for a long time, and you can kind of gauge your experience around that 20-30 hour playthrough. So, I mean, I think it's makes sense for it to be here at this point. I mean, it's a game that people have had enough time to play, kind of gather their opinions and thoughts about it, and it's a quality game. I mean, we'll talk more about it here in just a moment, but I don't think anybody can argue that it's not a good game.
Which one? Sorry,
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok? No, yeah, I agree.
So, I don't know. I think God of War is going to take it, although personally, I think Elden Ring is probably the more impressive game out of these, and to be fair, I mean, not saying that God of War is not impressive, but I think Elden Ring is more unique, if that makes sense. Ragnarok is very much an extension of the first God of War, the remake one. So, I mean, it's more of that, which is good, but it's just more of that. Elden Ring is kind of a new thing. Like, they haven't really had, like, an open world Dark Souls type of game. So, that fills a very particular niche that wasn't filled before. So, I think that alone should qualify it.
For me, I like God of War visually, I felt like, to me, is more appealing than Elden Ring. The little bit that I did play of Elden Ring.
Maybe you got demolished though so quick in Elden Ring.
I didn't get to see enough maybe of it. I don't know.
What do you think, Metal? What game should take it home?
Oh boy.
I never even started the timer on this one. I'm really bad at
it. He can finish it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that one. I mean, I watched a little bit of Chaz play Elden Ring, and I thought that was kind of
very
fun.
little bit.
I've never gotten more. I've never been more frustrated. Maybe other than Call of Duty World at War. Like I was like.
Couldn't get past that first bridge boss.
Yeah.
And it's not an uncommon thing. Everyone I've looked up are like people, people who like me didn't like the game. They all complained about that one boss. I'm like, Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, people like those kind of games too. You know, like they want to be tortured. I mean, when you really think about it,
It's like
you
people
know,
that play what is it?
it's like Sekiro. You know, like you play
Yeah. Oh
Sekiro, and
yeah.
it's like freaking just complete demolishment. Like you get wrecked every turn you go.
Yeah.
And people like that stuff, man. It's like hard mode times 10, like every time.
Mhm.
So, um, and from what I'm gathering is if God of War is just like, what'd you say? Like it's a lot like the first one, right? It's like
Yeah.
almost
It's
And
well,
that's
the
not necessarily
previous
a
one.
bad thing.
almost.
It's
It's a
not a
lot
bad
No,
like
thing.
that's good because
2018.
that's okay, and that's perfectly fine. But I think I'm gonna have to go with you on this one, where it's like if it's something unique about the other game, I would rather choose the other game that's more unique in its own way,
Mhm.
in its own sense. You know.
And to be fair,
Um.
I didn't play Elden Ring either. I just watched Chaz beat his head against a wall, and that was entertaining enough. That was my game of the year moment, just watching him struggle so much.
I
What,
mean,
what,
why
what was
not?
more entertaining, seeing me get destroyed in Elden
Yes.
Ring, or not
Yes.
being able to solve puzzles in Zelda?
The Zelda one was just frustrating. It was more satisfying watching you get slammed to the ground over and over again in Elden Ring. That was like cathartic for me. So
I got the best. I have best friends in the world.
I love you,
Yeah.
but not much. All right,
No.
so I didn't start that
Well,
timer. That was the worst
no, it's
speedrun
fine.
segment. So
I just wanted to
whoop,
say real
there's our
quick,
timer sound.
I
Okay.
really enjoyed the first Plague Tale. I would have been very curious to see what my thought was if I ever got to play the second one. I know it just came out, but I really enjoyed the first one. I remember telling Phoenix I thought it was a must play for. I think we talked about it on
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, I mentioned it. I thought it was a must play if you have Game Pass. I thought it was really fun. So I would have been curious to see what my thought is on that, but alas,
I'll tell you, I bet Stray's gonna win. Like just because
no.
I have that. I
well,
have that
last
feeling too.
year
I was
It
thinking
Takes
about
Two won, and not saying that It Takes Two wasn't a good game, but I don't think anybody saw that coming. So
Stray was not very good, dude. I played it. It was okay.
But
I don't know.
man, there's so many cat people out there. It's almost ridiculous.
Some
They'll just
people
take it
love that game.
automatically.
Just saying.
I
All
mean, they
right.
were praising it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, you know, it's opinions are opinions.
Two humans gonna come out of nowhere and win.
Two
Watch.
human, 3 human, 4 human.
5
Castle
humans.
Crashers 2.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's
I
what
love
we need. That would win game of the decade,
Ooh.
man.
Castle
Yeah,
Crashers.
buddy.
Is that company still around?
Behemoth? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it should be.
I don't know what they're doing, but Castle
Nothing,
Crashers.
apparently.
They're probably working on Castle Crashers too. If anybody from Behemoth is listening, get on it and give me
Yeah,
an early
buddy.
review code.
Yeah, and Valve is working on freaking Half-Life 3 right now.
They skipped 3. They're on like Half-Life 6 right now.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Alien Hominid 2? What?
Mm.
I wish.
All right,
Those
we're
are
going
the
to the
good
big
old days.
topic now.
Yeah. Well, how long are we? What are we running on? Like an hour?
Hour and a half. So
Yeah, we're not doing too bad. All right, guys. Well, yeah. So we're gonna move on to our final topic. Basically what everyone has been talking about. When did it come out? Last Thursday?
it's been about
Wednesday?
a week. Yeah, so
About a
right
week?
at a week.
So again, there will be no spoilers when talking about God of War Ragnarok here. Well, no final ending spoilers because me and Phoenix haven't gotten there. But we did want to at least put our general impressions of everything up until maybe the last 2 or 3 hours. But yeah, Phoenix, I'll let you go ahead and start. What are you thinking so far? How are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it. I feel like I kind of need to lay groundwork and kind of my feelings about new God of War. I will say, and I think I already said it, if you had any doubt that this was going to be a good game, you shouldn't need to worry about that. This is an excellent game at just about every metric you could measure a game by. Graphics are excellent, narrative is excellent. Like everything about this is quality through and through.
I mentioned it previously. Santa Monica makes quality. They make quality games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't let that be a concern that, oh, this is somehow going to be a dud by Santa Monica, because it's not. Now, does that mean you're going to love this game? I think it's going to depend on how much you like God of War 2018, because for better or for worse, this is God of War 2018, just more of it. And that's something I've heard kind of reiterated, and you really feel it as you play the game. This doesn't feel like a sequel. This is a just direct continuation. Like I could have imagined like finishing, the ending of God of War 2018 and just immediately start this game. I mean, I'm sure there are changes, like some gameplay loops have probably been adjusted, combat's been tweaked some, but this is the same game through and through from a narrative perspective, even graphical fidelity. It looks the same. The art direction, of course, hasn't changed at all between it. And none of that's necessarily a bad thing. If you loved God of War 2018, you're really going to love Ragnarok.
Graphically, I feel like it looks a touch better, but man,
well,
it's hard to tell.
It's better. Okay, so technically it's better. It's the next generation. If you're playing on PS5 with all the bell and whistles, of course it's better. But when you look at these games from an art direction standpoint, and you also think God of War 2018 was not a bad looking game, and it just got re-released on PC with extra bells and whistles. So comparing those two games now, they both look incredible. So I think there's pretty good consistency between the graphical fidelity between both of them. My point being is it really is going to depend on how much you love 2018. And I'll tell you, I enjoyed God of War 2018. I was not in the camp of this is a masterpiece game back in the day. I mean, I don't know how you felt about it. I think you talked a little bit about it when you finished 2018. Like, how did you feel about the newest God of War?
I felt like it was a really good, amazing. I loved it. I just felt like it. Like, I remember seeing a lot of the discourse around it was that it was the best God of War game. I still say it is not. I think God of War 3, in my opinion, is still the best God of War game, in my opinion. Granted, but yeah, I would say so far with this game, this game is making me like 2018 a little bit more.
That's fair.
I feel like this one's still fun. It's still really good. But I will say, unlike the previous one, this game is starting to run me a little to the point where I'm like, all right, me and you are what, about 20 hours in already, and
I'm at the 30 mark.
At the 30 mark? How are you at 30? I'm at like 22.
I did a lot of side quests up at the beginning.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I kind of get it.
To be fair, I think we were both trying to rush it, so we're probably feeling that, hey, we both were trying to finish this game prior to this podcast, and just couldn't do it. There's too much game here if you're trying to rush through it.
Before I continue, I just wanted to add in, I missed Lencho in chat. He did say, when it came to the Game Awards, he just wanted to say, I've never heard of it. Where do they put the Game Awards? Basically, whenever it comes around, it is on YouTube. It's a lot of streaming. Back in the day, it was mainly on like Spike TV and G4. But yeah, just look online.
No more G4.
No more G4. Yeah, they went bye-bye for the second or third time.
Before we go too deep into the new game, I do want to just backtrack for a minute. I don't think I really gave my rationale for why I didn't love 2018 as much.
Can I just throw in Lencho's last?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
His last comment was that he just said, when it came to the Game Award talk, he just said, I really enjoyed Forza's latest Horizon, which
Forza Horizon
really like that,
really
but
good.
I think that was from last year.
It was. They did put out the Hot Wheels DLC this year, though, so I think that might make it kind of fresh. Anyways, so just to kind of reframe, the reason I didn't love 2018 as much, and I'm sure it's a lot of nostalgia bias, I'm kind of in the same camp with you, that original trilogy, like that style of God of War game, is kind of what I grew up with. And I didn't play as much of 2 and 3. I played a lot of 1, though. Like, I probably played God of War 1 like 4 or 5 times. So that super fast, brisk combat, the pace of how you just kind of run through these environments and you're attacking stuff left and right, almost like a Devil May Cry kind of game. To me, that was always God of War. So when I got to 2018, the pacing just, like, tanked. Because, for one, it's a slower...
I feel like that's even worse in this game.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
I think this game's far slower.
Oh, I don't think so. But I'll come back to that. Point being is, like, 2018 dropped. First, I felt it, not just like the narrative. I knew that was going to slow down because the way they're kind of interacting with, Atreus and him to kind of have their father-son bonding moments. But the gameplay, like, the combat was so much slower in the original God of War. Like, I like the axe. The axe is a lot of fun, but it is slow and it's very deliberate. And granted, I'm not saying that's a bad design decision. Like, it has a very different feel, but I was very conflicted with that for a long time with that game because I wanted it faster.
Once you get the blades in 2018, you're like, okay.
They came too late, though, for me. And that was kind of my point. Like, by the time the blades came out, I'd already kind of relegated to how I need to play the game with the axe. And I already wasn't enjoying the combat as much because of that. Granted, that's on me. That's probably just once again, nostalgia bias and me not giving it a fair shake back then. And although when the blades came, that was nice. It was kind of like a throwback to the original game. They didn't really feel like the original Blades of Chaos. They were a little off. They weren't quite as quick. You saw that, really tight camera, which made it awkward. And I feel like they just came too late. I was already kind of locked into how I was going to play that game. This game, Ragnarok, I feel like does a much better job because instead of waiting to give you that faster combat option, you start with it. Like you have the option right at the beginning. You have the axe, but then you also have the blades. So you have time to really spend with the blades early on to kind of get used to that quick move set. And then I feel like you have an option. It's not that you're stuck with a slower combat choice with the axe. You get to choose depending on the combat encounter. Do I want to be really fast with the blades? Do I want to mix it with the axe for a couple of enemies and go back and forth? And I thought that really helped pick up the pacing of the combat in this game. Maybe enjoy it a lot more.
Perhaps. I mean, me personally, I still really like, or sorry, gamer, feel free to, budge in if you want. But I still really enjoy the fact that like when you do get the axe or when you do get the blades in 2018, it very much is that it symbolizes that whole Kratos having to revert to his previous ways, which I like.
It was
that
a cool moment
thematically.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll say that was what I did really enjoy about 2018. Like the combat for me felt a little flat, which also kind of discouraged me from wanting to do all of the side quests. But the narrative was great, like the themes that they were kind of playing on, and like the moments they would build up, like where they built to that moment where they reveal the Blades of Chaos. Like that's what pulled me through God of War 2018 was the narrative and thematic choices. This game, though, not only do I think does a really good job from a narrative standpoint, but in this game, the gameplay is actually kind of hooked me in finally. So I'm enjoying it much more. I know you're going to talk about it too, but the other thing that's helped me kind of appreciate or have a speedier gameplay option, the Atreus sections, which I know you're going to have some negative things to say about some of it, but the combat when you play as Atreus, honestly, I almost like it more than when you play as Kratos. Like, it's so quick. Like, the parrying mechanic is so much better. Like, I always found it super annoying to have to parry with the axe because you have to be super deliberate. Like, if you're not planning for your parry, you're going to miss it and get your butt kicked. But with Atreus, like, I could just, like, really reactionary, just kind of press that block button. I could press, like, twice and be able to parry things quicker than I ever could with the axe. So, I like those faster combat options. That's just me, personally, but that helped.
I agree. I actually, when it comes to his mechanics, when it comes to his gameplay, I actually think it's pretty fun to play as Atreus. Like that is the positive when it comes to him. My still problems with the Atreus sections and the game as a whole is just like I just don't think he's that interesting of a character, and I don't want to say he's not that interesting, but Kratos to me is overly.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off.
No, you're right. He's overly dramatized, and
he's
I feel
overly
like
naive.
Fine.
He's really hard to relate to. Is my problem with him.
Yes.
And granted, because he's a kid, he's supposed to be naive, but it's coming down to like a fault almost, where you're like, "Come on, kid." Like I don't want to go into a lot of spoilers, but there's decisions that Atreus makes that you're just like, really? Even if he's a 13-year-old kid, considering who he's been raised by and everything going on, like these are just dumb decisions, and nobody around.
Like coming off of 2018, you're like, you would think you would know.
You would know better, yeah.
Know better after all that.
He's like a hopeful optimist with everything, and that's not the world that they've set up in either of these two games. This is a pretty brutal, sometimes hopeless kind of situation you're in a lot of these scenarios. So I mean, it's nice that he's upbeat, but it also doesn't play well, in my opinion. Like, he is too naive, I think, to really rally behind. And maybe that was a conscious decision. They want you to have some kind of conflict there, but I feel like they wanted you to kind of relate to Atreus during some of those sections, and I don't always do so, just because of the way he's kind of interacting.
And it's not even ultimately his final decision to go join Odin. Into spoilers again.
Man, you just like said no spoilers, and you just freaking jumped to the biggest spoiler, man.
Well,
ruined.
I didn't mean.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Lincho. It just ruined God of War for you.
Well, Lincho's been watching my stream. He knows.
Oh.
But yeah. I wanted to bring that up because like I felt like that aspect of the plot is understandable. Like when he finds out about what's Kratos' fate and when he wants to try and turn all of that, it makes sense he'd be willing to go through certain lengths. But there are other decisions he makes though that are like, why? Like I don't know. You get what I'm saying.
I do.
There's other
I don't
things
know.
Beyond that.
And without getting too deep into any of it, it's hard to really overly rationalize why I don't agree with some of his choices. But I think they're pretty dumb. Even like I think a kid nowadays, I think would look at this situation, wouldn't make the decisions he's making for whatever reason. So.
And this game, when it comes to the whole like people keeping secrets from one another trope. It's like, dude, you have been going on this trope for so long. Have these characters still not figured out that keeping secrets from one another
they're a little contrived just for plot convenience sake, it feels like sometimes.
It's beyond contrived. It's like they every chapter is like that, where like there's some, it's like I need to be open with Atreus. Where did you go, boy? And like they're just constantly people talking about secrets and stuff, and I don't know.
And to be fair, I mean, this is getting a little nitpicky. Like, I don't want any of this to come across like, you know, the game is poorly written or the narrative is bad, because it's not. I just think in general there are some, you know, decisions these characters are making that makes it a little hard to relate to them sometimes for XYZ reason.
And they almost, I feel like they try and play off of the whole, he's Loki, therefore he's mischief. He's the god of mischievous.
I don't feel like he's really mischievous. He's just disobedient.
No, I agree. I'm saying, but I feel like that's like they would be their explanation as to why he keeps so many secrets and stuff. It's like,
well, no, because that's not his rationale for why he's keeping the secrets. He's doing them because he's trying to be loyal to characters he's met and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I think my problem is like Atreus takes everything he does just at face value. There's like no thought put into what could be happening. Like the way he trusts Odin towards the end of it, and he argues that he wasn't really that trusting, but come on, he was like he was all in for a little while with stuff.
Yeah.
And I find that just annoying that he doesn't take all this context into account and be like, well, this is probably a little awkward. Maybe I shouldn't be, you know, following through with this the way I am. I don't know.
It's like, well, all you've been doing for 2 games now is sitting on a boat with Mimir, listening to Mimir tell every single story about how this god Odin has killed everyone you know, and you still are willing to like join him and try and help him solve even just 1 or 2 secrets. It's like, come on, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like,
well, his whole thought is like, oh, well, Atreus, he thinks he's smart enough that he can pull one over on Odin, which is just like the most naive thing. Maybe a 13-year-old really would think that he's going to be smarter than, you know, the all-father of the Norse realms. But I don't know. To me, it just comes across pretty disingenuous. But
yeah, I honestly, I feel like when it comes to the mechanics and how the game operates, again, it's very similar to 2018. I don't think it's necessary to like, I mean, I feel like they add some mechanics, especially when it comes to like the spear and stuff that you kind of get later in the game. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff is similar. You know, how you kind of like discovering certain things and enemy types. I mean, it's all.
Yeah, this game is I don't want to say it's the same as 2018 because there are differences, but the gameplay loop is essentially the same. The way you explore, the pacing of the narrative, where it kind of brings you down to those slow moments where you're either in a boat or a sled, just talking to the other character, to branch off on these little hub worlds to do a small little explorative puzzle. Like, it's the exact same gameplay loop you had in 2018. So if you're coming into this game expecting something completely different, you're not going to get that here. But I don't think you really should be. Like, honestly, I think this is the better game thus far. I mean, I haven't beaten it up to the very ending kind of narrative standpoint, but everything I've played about this game so far, I have enjoyed more than God of War 2018. Part of that's the combat. Part of it, too, is I am really digging just what they're doing with certain characters in this game. Like, the last game was a much smaller story. It was really just about Atreus and Kratos. But I love the way they represent, like, Thor and Odin in this game. Like, they're such cool representations of these characters and so different. And it's really kind of helped me reframe, like, how I look at, like, Norse mythology. Like, we know Thor and Loki from, like, MCU and, like, classic Norse mythology. And then you see him here, and it's a completely different relationship and behavior, which is really cool. That's that unique way they've kind of taken that mythology and represented it here.
So I want to ask Gamer a question. So, Gamer, how many God of War games have you played?
Only like 2, not even.
Do you like the
1.5?
Do you like the Kratos character in the game?
I do.
Okay. So
that's why I'm really intrigued. I'm like, man, now I want to play it.
Well, so
like, I love that fast action nonsense.
One of the big draws with the suspense in this game is that at the end of 2018 they learn a prophecy about Kratos. Again, if this is all spoilers, I don't want to spoil. Are you okay me continuing on with some of the prophecies?
When I play it, I'll be like, whoa, that's cool. But, yeah.
One of the prophecies that he and the boy learn is that Kratos is going to die. And
Sure.
so far, again, we haven't finished the game, but so far everything is looking like it's going to follow the prophecy. And I just wanted to ask, like, would you be interested in God of War 2025 if it has Kratos dead and you play as Atreus?
Well, it depends on like the direction that they're taking boy, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like like Kratos is like one of those characters is like, yo, this guy's a boss. Like
Yeah.
he's destroyed like everything. He's so freaking cool, you know, like it's different. It's a completely different like persona as opposed to the kid.
Because
It's just like different.
I just feel like for me, yeah, I kind of would like to see where they go, but I would just say for me, I don't want to play as Atreus. I feel like it's a personality thing. Like I enjoy Kratos. I've played with him for what, 4 games now, and I don't know. What do you think, Phoenix?
I don't think that's the direction they're taking this game. I know that's what you're concerned about. I don't think they're. I mean, I'm not saying they won't kill off Kratos in this game, but they killed him how many times now? I mean,
3 times.
yeah. So even if they kill him in this game, you think he's really gonna not be a part in the next God of War? I don't think so. I mean, they might do that whole, pull the wool over your eye kind of thing. Maybe he's dead in this game. They start whatever the next God of War is with Atreus. You give it a third of the game, and Kratos is resurrected, and you're playing as him again. So I don't see them ripping Kratos out of God of War.
Yeah. Well, because a big aspect of this game, like a big thing, is the whole idea. Gamer of this game in particular, a major theme is the whole idea of prophecy,
Hmm.
and does that control you, or can you determine your own destiny and stuff? And that's why the boy runs away and certain things. But I don't know. Maybe it could be interesting at the end. I'm sure that's where they're gonna go. Is that, you know, Kratos somehow against prophecy is able to control his destiny or something and prevent his own death or something. I'm guessing that's where it's gonna go.
I really don't think this game is going to end with Kratos being dead. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong plenty of times. For part of it is, and I don't know how this game's going to like end, but if it's anything like the last God of War game, you go through the main narrative and then you can go around and clean up side content, right? And that's how these games have typically been structured. I don't think you could be able to go back and do certain side content without Kratos. Unless they do some weird time skip and all of a sudden Atreus has the exact same capabilities that Kratos has for exploration.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about it. The game
like
mechanics
Atreus
kind of
doesn't
tie
use the
it in.
spear, he doesn't have the chains, and all those are not just combat mechanics, they're also exploration mechanics. It's how you unlock certain areas. You have to use your chains to pull a block out of the way, or if you use a spear to go ahead and climb something. Atreus doesn't have that. So
Well,
unless
remember,
they...
no, I was gonna say, remember also, a big thing that they're playing around with is different realms and portals at the end of this game.
Mm-hmm.
So Kratos may very well die, and Atreus portals his way to a time frame or something where Kratos is alive. They could also do that because
Well, they haven't really done time. Well, I guess they've talked about it. Like Thor went back in time, and what was it? He killed some beast during Ragnarok before Ragnarok ever happened, or something.
Oh no, during God of War 2, all of the when he kills the Fates in God of War 2.
You know, I'm talking about a specific instance they talked about in this game about Thor going back in time as a piece of lore during Ragnarok.
Oh, maybe.
It was a throwaway lore line. I don't remember exactly
That's
what
what
it
I
was.
meant. Time is not a new thing when it comes to God of War. Like the whole fate, God of War 2 is all about like you fighting against prophecy and fate and all that. I actually really like that. They actually reference God of War 2 a lot because of that aspect with this game. Like when you go and talk to the Fates in this game, they're constantly referencing like stuff you did in God of War 2.
I just don't think they're going to kill off Kratos. At least not permanently. Here's the thing, like certain games you can do that. You can get away from the main character, like even like Mass Effect we were talking about. You could not have Shepard. You could argue it's better to keep him, but you don't have to have Shepard to technically have a Mass Effect game. Can you have a God of War game without the God of War? Like Atreus is never going to be the God of War. I don't think that even like from a mythological standpoint they would tie in well.
They haven't made him power-wise. They haven't made it seem as though he has any sort of like he is a strong character, but he's not
I mean, he's still a kid. I mean, they could argue. I mean, he hits adulthood and he bulks up and he starts looking like Kratos. I don't know, but he doesn't. He's just not the God of War. Like, I feel like for you to have a God of War game, you got to have a character who embodies the God of War. If it's not Kratos, who's that gonna be? And here's the thing: Kratos is also like just this iconic character. Like, as I said, there are franchises that can get away from having a certain main character, but not God of War. I feel like for you to have a God of War game, you got to have Kratos in there. Otherwise, it's not a God of War game. Because God of War is not just a title, that is Kratos to me. So I don't know. I think they will eventually, whenever they get past this saga, which I think it ends with Ragnarok. They're not doing a third game in this. They'll reinvent the God of War series another way. Like, it'll be another reboot style thing more than anything else. But I don't see Kratos being gone from this forever. But I'll find out. I'm gonna play the game after we finish this podcast, so I'll text you and let you know what happens.
No,
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
I stayed up till 4 a.m. last night trying to finish this stupid game, man. I'm so tired.
I'll finish it tomorrow night. I gotta go to bed. But yeah, I mean, overall, so you're enjoying it more than 2018, you said? Because I'm enjoying it just a touch less.
It really, the combat's what shifted it for me. Like, the combat turned me off in the first game. Not that it was bad. A lot of people love the combat in the last game, 2018, and I totally get that. For me, I was a little just opposed to it just because I think of what I was expecting, so expectation bias, or however you want to look at it. This game just appealed to me a little more. It gave me more flexibility with the combat. It felt faster, which encouraged me to want to explore more. I actually was more intrigued with going around trying to find little chests and whatnot. I will say that's actually somewhat of another nitpick with me just in general with these God of War games, and I think you may have mentioned this, I can't recall. I don't feel like where they go as far as like the resource collecting and the crafting is worth it in these games.
I don't think it's worth it at all. I don't think it's fun.
It's another layer to it that very rarely do I enjoy. Like, I like unlocking armor from an aesthetic purpose, and it's cool if you pick a piece of armor, it just has like a bonus effect, like you can do something quicker, you have an extra boon to whatever weapon you have. But this is really just like a stat boosting crafting system where it's about oh, I've got +3 cooldown on my greaves, and I don't know, I don't feel like that's needed in this God of War game, because what it leads to then when you're doing exploration and you're trying to find treasures and whatnot, more than half of the treasure chests you open is just the resource you need to upgrade your gear. So hack silver or whatever it is. And then there's, of course, chests that are more beneficial that give you like a new weapon upgrade or something like that. But those are fewer and further between. And I don't know, that to me, that actually brings down the exploration, at least the benefit of exploration, especially as you progress further in the game, because after you've gotten to a certain point, you've got plenty of resources. You don't need to go exploring to have more hack silver or whatever to upgrade your gear. You've got plenty of it by the time you reach the halfway point. So then why explore? Like, it kind of removes part of the incentive to go out, because you're just going to find more hack silver that now you don't really even need that much.
I've thought that ever since 2018. I remember when we talked about 2018, I was like, it's fine, but it's like Gotham Knights. It's like, why is this in, it's more noticeable in Gotham Knights, but I mean, like, for me, it's just like, I just don't think it's necessary to be here.
I agree. I think that's the other thing about 2018 that I think hurt it for me. Like, the gameplay didn't encourage me to go out in these extra little side combat missions, and then the stuff I would even earn from doing those side missions didn't seem all that beneficial. This game, at least, the combat is more intriguing or enjoyable for me, so that's helped me kind of engage with the exploration more. But even at that, the exploration, I think, could be, I don't know, adjusted so it wasn't all built around this crafting currency.
I wonder if something that's hurting my opinion of this game is the fact that I played 18 so not that long ago. Like, I played 18 like a month ago.
Yeah.
Whereas most people probably waited what was it, like a year and a half, 2 years?
It's been at least 2 years since I played it.
I remember I played through all of these games within like 2 months. So.
And that's what I was saying, like, this game, I'm sure, feels just like a continuation of the last game.
It does. Oh,
so I'm sure you're already feeling a little kind of weary from God of War in general. So this is just more of that, which, for better or for worse, that may not be what you were looking for at this point. I don't know.
I still think my biggest gripe is just with a lot of the narrative. Like, not that it's bad, it's just, I don't feel like they focused in on certain things that I would like for them to have focused in on more.
Like what? Like, where would you want the narrative to go? I'm curious. Like, I like, for the most part, where the narrative is going. I don't agree with every character decision, but I've liked the narrative.
I was kind of hoping more I was kind of hoping more like again, kind of hitting back on the fact that I don't really the Atreus character you were saying is kind of um what was the word you used? Oh shit, I forgot.
Overly naive.
Overly naive, and just he makes kind of dumb decisions sometimes. I feel like I would have preferred he had gotten taken against his will, and then you just have to like go full on Kratos. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm guessing maybe. I mean, we haven't finished the game, so maybe they're still leading up to that.
You
But
have
I
a
would have.
couple of moments that will shift that. I will say, because I'm like 2 chapters ahead of you, and it does give you some of that. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's hopeful to hear.
That whole time that Atreus was in Asgard, I was like tentatively on stream. I'm like, oh, it's going that way. Kratos has got to mount war by himself on Asgard. Now, granted, maybe that's unrealistic, but dude, he was doing that in God of War 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just running up in there. I also have to mention that I saw me getting mad at some rando on Twitter, but basically here. But I saw somebody on Twitter said that God of War Ragnarok had the best opening for a video game ever, or the craziest opening, and I'm like, dude, did you play God of War 3? Like that game starts off with you on the back of Gaia and the Titans ascending, ascending, trying to get heading towards Zeus and like 4 other gods like that.
I'll be honest. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was gonna say I've honestly forgotten how this one started. I know there was a sled chase at the beginning. Is that what they're talking about?
Well, I'm assuming they're taking into account the Thor battle, but you don't fight Thor until an hour into the game.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't really look at that as the intro. I mean,
no,
it's within I guess the intro chapters, but
I just thought it was like a lot of these PlayStation fans, they have like
careful.
Not just them.
Watch
not
what
just
you
them.
say. You're gonna start some wars, Chaz.
not just them. People on both sides. People have very, very quick recency bias, and it's like, dude, the game came out 4 days ago, and it already has the greatest opening to a game you've ever played. It's like,
I feel like there's a lot of hyperbole and whatnot. Like people are overly hyped about this, and the game does deliver in a lot of ways. But I have been hearing a lot of people say this is their favorite game ever, and I'm just like, really? Like it's
like
good.
That.
Go ahead.
It was like that with Breath of the Wild. It's like, dude, I really enjoyed
Breath of the Wild.
but
I think could deserve it though, because there's more to Breath of the Wild than just like a narrative.
God of War fans and Zelda fans.
I don't know. I mean, I can understand. I mean, okay, so to be fair, all this is, based upon someone's personal preference and perspective. It's all subjective. So, I mean, if this is your game of your lifetime, the best game ever made, perfectly fine. I'm not going to come and, argue with you over that point. But I think it's hard to make that decision. I think you're right. There's a lot of recency bias, and there's a lot of hype around this game. And to be fair, this game does deliver. So I think you have that satisfaction, and it does keep you going. But I think over time, people are gonna, get a little more neutered or a little more subdued on their feelings about this. And in general, I think there's gonna be a lot more favor too. I think brought up with God of War 2018. I think a lot of people are gonna start preferring that one over this one, but we'll see.
I will still say, like, I feel like the old style God of War games, more particular 3, is more crazy. It's a much larger scale. It's more grandiose. These games are better and more tightly strewn in terms of narrative and plot. I feel like they're totally different styled games, but like again, that's why I was saying, like, if you're talking craziness, it's like, dude, God of War 3 is like ultimate craziness where you're like beating people's heads up over rocks and stuff. It's like,
I think the gameplay, honestly, at least for me, is just more fun in those original 3 games. Like I would play those old games for the gameplay any day over playing these new games. However, I think the narrative and the story in the new games are head and shoulders above anything we had in the old games. So, but that's one of those things. Like I will play this God of War game, I will finish it. I may never come back and play it again, or if so, it's going to be.
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think these 2018 in this game, due to the length for me, are going to be games I replay for a very long time. Like God of War 3 is a game where like I can go up there like under 10 hours, all 3 of the.
You can beat them in a weekend. You've had your fun with it. It was fast paced, and the gameplay loop just kind of is a quicker kind of adrenaline boost as you run through it. These games drag, not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, they're doing it to kind of set the pacing for these big narrative payoffs, but they're slower. They definitely bring things to a halt to have some cinematic moments or to set up a new character. And That's great the first time when you're really trying to soak in all the story and all the narrative, but once you've done that, unless you just this is your favorite story ever, it's going to feel old the second time and the third time, and more so the more often you play it.
I will say my last thought. I did it again, spoilers, but one of the last things I did was you have a battle with Heimdall. How that kind of happens and go like I do really enjoy that whole back and forth of like Kratos trying to fight against his own nature, trying to fight against his past and everything, but ultimately it comes down to like, you know, he doesn't want to be the person he was before, but ultimately his abilities and his power is like only good for one thing. Like, and it's sad because, you know, he's trying to fight against nature and be a good father and teach his son the right things, but ultimately his strongest asset as a person is his power. And it's like the way he like deals with Heimdall, where he's like, you know what I mean. You played that section, but like, I don't know. I really enjoy that back and forth between, you know, again, Kratos is a great character. I love his personality and kind of what he tries to stand for, but he just he can't get away from, you know, his past.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Just out of curiosity, and you may have answered this question, but thus far, what was your favorite battle in the game so far? Like big set piece kind of battle moment
of this game. I really enjoyed the wolf battle.
Okay,
with,
I was curious if you got to that part yet. I couldn't remember.
The
big
wolf battle was the big wolf. That was pretty fun.
That's probably my favorite.
That was pretty great. I will say I feel like the big battles were slightly better in 2018.
I don't feel like they've had as many in this game. Like there was I don't remember the name. The serpent,
tree
dragon thing. Yeah, the big wolf. And really beyond that, you've had like a Thor battle here and there. You've had Heimdall.
The Heimdall. Yeah.
Really, is there anything else besides like some little mini boss characters?
No, I don't think.
Like there's a lot of combat in this game, but there's not a lot of like big set piece combat moments, which now I think like
it's kind of the wolf battle is probably the most entertaining.
Yeah, I like the way that one ends. I won't spoil that one because that is a fun moment because it kind of brings a couple of things back in full circle. But that's a fun one. That's one of the highlights of the game so far.
My low light is definitely that whole thing on Giant Planet. I was taken out of the game so much.
Forgot about that. Are you still hanging in there, gamer? I know you haven't really said a whole lot.
I know. I feel bad.
I'm just listening.
That's fair. Well, tell us to shut up if we're going too long.
Last thing, we'll talk about Giant Planet real quick.
Jotunheim.
I was taken aback by everything going on there, and I felt like it went on way too long, man. That whole section was almost like 2 hours, where you're playing as Atreus alone.
I don't know.
On stream, I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It might have been. I didn't feel quite as negative about it like you did. And granted, I think you have a pretty...
I forgot that was another battle, the giant lady.
Oh, yeah. Grandma. See, I liked that giant battle. I mean, it was...
I didn't like that battle.
It was different. Like, it wasn't the same kind of battle like the giant wolf battle, but it was different. I don't know. And I don't know. I enjoyed it well enough. I don't know. I know you probably have the more consensus opinion on that section. Most people, from what I could tell, didn't like it. I didn't mind it too much, partially because I was very interested in that narrative. I wanted some payoff for who Loki was and his prophecy, and this was the first opportunity you had to kind of get any feedback or payoff from it, and you get some of that. I do think it drags as far as you have to get on that stupid yak one too many times, the yawl or whatever it was.
That whole section, I just felt taken out of the game during that whole section, and I don't know. It just felt out of place. I mean, I understand some of that stuff is a part of Norse mythology, but it felt more like Grimm's fairy tale, you know, with like, I don't know.
I think what helped is that was the first chance I really got to play with Atreus a fair amount and kind of learn his moveset. And I really liked his kit. Like, we were talked about a little bit, but I have enjoyed playing as Atreus' his moveset. So this gave me a lot of time to do that. Yeah, it has some slow pacing moments where it's just exposition going through a swamp on this yak. So yes, that's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I was down for it just to kind of have the moments where I could fight as Atreus a few more times.
Yeah, I just remembered one last thing. Just I thought Thor was Josh Brolin the whole time, and I looked it up. It is not Josh Brolin. I don't know. I just thought that voice actor was Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, your video froze.
Yeah.
Oh, can
Oh,
I
hold on.
can I draw on your face? Hold on.
Do it.
Hold on.
I don't
Show
have
his
a
face.
pen or
Show
something.
his face.
Oh,
Hurry before it moves.
I don't have anything. Oh no, I
Oh,
wasn't prepped for
shoot.
this. Oh, where's my my hat? So I can put a hat. Oh, now his face is gone.
Oh
Wah,
man.
wah. All right,
But,
well,
I'm
welcome
still
back to
here.
the Phoenix Man podcast.
My camera's been doing that for some reason.
Oh, he's kind of back.
Some of my streams it freezes.
He's darkened up.
But
Ooh.
shoot, what was I talking about just now? I totally forgot.
Josh Brolin not being in this game.
I thought it was Josh Brolin the whole time. Turns out it's not.
The voice, I can hear that. I can see where you get that from.
And did you notice Ellie? Ellie as the one dwarf lady? It was totally Ellie from Borderlands.
Oh
The
yeah,
one blacksmith.
I
It was
thought
total.
that. I mean, I wasn't sure if I was just thinking.
I didn't look it up, but to me it sounded just like
It's
Ellie.
hard because a lot of people can do that same style of hey there, what's going on, kind of Southern country kind of deal. So I'm not sure if it was.
I'm
Just
gonna
someone with
assume it was. I'm gonna assume it was.
It could have been. I don't know. It might just be a very convenient similarity, but I don't know. But the voice acting has been really good.
It's been really good. All right, well, we're gonna come back to God of War. We're gonna wait until me and Phoenix on the next episode. We'll talk some of our overall thoughts on the game's ending and everything. I guess I feel like at this point in time, after this episode, I want to start working on. Since we're getting into award season, that was one of our topics. I wanted to start working on something called the ChazZ, which is going to be our first annual award show, and I feel like we're going to do that. When do you guys want to try that? Like end of December?
It's gonna have to be like late into the
We
year
don't have
for
a
me to make
specific.
it.
We don't have to. I know end of December's tough. It's holiday season, but
We'll figure it out.
we don't have to have. Yeah, whenever we decide to do it. We're just talk about some of our favorite things from this year. I'll set up some topics, some categories and whatnot. I'll get dressed up and
It'd be kind of cool. I don't know if Metal, you gonna be in town at all end of the year?
No, maybe not. But
it would have been cool if we could all get together physically, do like a kind of live broadcast all in one place.
ooh,
Just a thought. I don't know. We'll see.
that'd be kind of fun.
maybe.
We'll see how it goes.
But yeah, either way, I do want to start planning the ChazZ. We'll have some awards and do some other things. So what do you guys got going on? Do you guys have any other games or anything else you're looking at? I know Pentiment. I think after God of War, I think that's what I'm going to get into.
I think I already said. I mean, yeah, God of War. I'm hopefully gonna finish up very shortly, and then I'll probably pick up Pokemon. Maybe I don't know. I might back out of it. We'll see. But I'm curious to see just how much of the Arceus kind of lends itself to the new gameplay. So we'll see.
Fair enough. What about you, gamer? What do you got going on?
You guys talking about God of War? I'm looking at him right now. I completely forgot I have like 3 of the games behind me.
Well, you could play 2018 on the PC. Like you don't need a PS5 or a PS. Well, you have a PS4, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you could, if you haven't played the 2018, give that a shot.
I mean, I've got a copy you can borrow. Oh wait, you're way somewhere
I
else.
wonder if I have it. No, I don't think I have it.
You might have it under PS Plus because they've given that away once or twice, I think.
Probably.
I think even if you look on digital, it's probably only like $10 on their store. 2018. That's how much I think that's how much I paid for.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
So yeah, I think that's all we've got. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Was there anything else we had? Don't believe so. Anyways, guys. Oh, I did want to bring up. I know we said we wanted to start talking more anime on here. And for our next episode, I wanted to broach with you guys. We don't have to just talk about shows. Did you guys want to try and watch a movie or something? I've been wanting to talk some Akira at some point. I don't know if
Old school.
yeah, because I talked about the movie Metropolis on my channel before,
Yeah, I remember that
which
one.
I love that early 2000s. So again, I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys didn't want to try and do movies or shows, we could always just check out some anime movies, talk about there. I know Akira, again, I've been wanting to talk about that on my channel.
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, we could do that.
I'm looking too. We're getting ready to get into like the holiday season. Might be some holiday special shenanigans we could get into. Watch the Star Wars holiday special.
I was just gonna say I've never watched the Star Wars holiday special.
Ooh, that might be. I don't know if we can like stream and play that at the same time. It'd be a fun reactionary video, but we'll see.
No, I think they have the theme on there, so that's probably gonna get claimed somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys. Once again, we're starting to get into award season, holiday season. Feel free to throw any suggestions for anything you might want to watch or see us talk about. But yeah, as always, just want to say thank you so much for watching. You guys got anything to say before you head down into the basement?
Nope, I'm good. I'm gonna try to stay up for another 5 hours and finish God of War.
You have a job? You have a real job?
I just don't sleep anymore. Kind of my general state of being right now. But I don't need sleep. It's for the week.
Sleep is for the week. Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. We love you. We appreciate you. And we can't wait to see you on the next one. Adios, everyone.
Fairly well.